All right, y'all. All right, all right, all right, all right. A ver, a ver, a ver, a ver. Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. ¿Dónde andamos? Ay, ay, ay. What do we say? What do we say? Always annoyed. Always slightly disturbed. Ah, man. For whatever reason, OBS is like, you're streaming Fortnite tonight, right? I'm like, I don't think I've ever played Fortnite. I don't think I've ever played fucking Fortnite. So I don't know what was going on there. Um, I'm sweating. It is hot out here. What are we doing? We are doing okay. Thank you all so much for being here. I promise moving forward it'll be at 5 p.m. sharp. I just had a meeting that ran a little bit late, but that's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's one of those meetings that you want for it to run later. But let's get to it, y'all. Yeah, I don't know why. It was like I was trying to log into this, and it was just like, would you like to play Fortnite instead? I'm like, no, I would not. Not a great gamer. All right, let's get to this. Can I get a hallelujah? Can I get an amen? All right. It's fucking hot. It is hot. Let's do this shit, man. Let's do this, man. Where's this fool at? Shout out to Killer Mike. Oh man, I mean, I hope Dr. Ball's channel didn't get a strike, right? I was watching that live, and yeah, they pulled it. We're doing this one, and then we're doing this one. That looks beautiful. All right. Man, what are we doing here? All right. I promise next time I'll be a little bit more composed. Running a little bit late here. I don't know why I like this, all this random stuff. Funny, but random. Where are we? Where's this fool at? All right, chat. Let's get it together. Let's get it together. Let's get it together here. I do want to read that. And then there's one. There should be one. Where are you? Did I not like this? That's annoying. Shout out to Common, helping to rehabilitate Obama's legacy. Wow, I'm really annoyed at myself right now. Really? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Jesus Christ, bro. Let's do this instead. Let's do that. All right, all right, all right. Let's get started. I appreciate y'all sincerely, sincerely, sincerely. All right. The Twitch chat may lurk. All good, all good. And then we got the live chat. All right. We're good to go. Oh, almost, almost, almost. Not quite, not quite. There we go. It's gone, disappeared. Lurking's allowed as long as you say hi. You gotta say hi. You gotta be a little courteous. That's for all the lurkers. More than welcome. All right, let's get to this. Woo! We did it, y'all. We elected a capitalist that has been endorsed, supported by. Well, sorry, excuse me. Oh, we didn't endorse him. What we did is we recommended him, right? The DSA recommended Abdul El Said, and he won. Just barely. Just barely. But it's a good sign that he has Emma Viglin's bestie over here, right behind him. Let's hear what he has to say, though. Let's hear what Hassan Piker's boy has to say.
I want to speak specifically to an issue that has been focused on in this race. To my Jewish American sisters and brothers, one of the most indelible memories of this campaign will have been the opportunity to break bread with you at Seder, to worship with you at Shul, to be embraced by you. And listening to sisters and brothers who said, you know, I want to join this movement because AIPAC doesn't speak for me. Because I understand that self-determination for one people does not require the quenching of self-determination for another people.
It does for colonizers. The self-determination of a colonizer on the land that they're colonizing requires a subjugation, oppression, disenfranchisement of the indigenous Palestinian people. It quite literally does, bro. This is some liberal Zionist nonsense of, why can't we all get along? Why can't we be friends? Right? Like this nonsense, like, wait, hold on. No. But you see, he wins, and immediately he lets you know his position. That he's a liberal Zionist. Without hesitation. You love to see it. Not even one day in office. Has even been sworn in.
That self-determination for one people does not require the quenching of self-determination for another people. That unless all of us are free, none of us are free. I want to tell you the great gift that you've given me. And to all of my sisters and brothers of the Jewish faith, or any faith at all, or no.
Specifically names Jewish faith, the Jewish faith, which now, it's inseparable from Zionism. It's inseparable from the Zionist entity. And then he's like, and you know, the rest. Or even if you don't have any, perhaps you have none. Yes, exactly. It's not even a general. Thank you so much. It's a fucking primary. And he's already doing this. But we should not be surprised whatsoever, because remember, he's a capitalist. He's not even a socialist. He's not even playing the game that Zoran Mamdani, Alejandra Ocasio-Cortez, Hassan Piker, the whole of the DSA is playing. Pretending to be socialists. You're fucking Democrats. You're an organization within the Democratic Party. Guess what? That makes you a fucking Democrat. Don't call these people socialists. Don't call these people communists. Don't call these fuckers comrades. They're Democratic Party members, and they're proud of it, and they're trying to reform the party. Forget the institution of the United States empire. They're trying to reform the Democratic Party from within. Don't give them any fucking respect. They don't deserve it. They do not deserve any bit of it, because they will go around supporting men like this. Men like this, they'll go around. I mean, again, the Cenk Uygur comparisons, I mean, call me racist, call me whatever you want, but like, even like he looks, I mean, him and Cenk Uygur look both like just sleazy individuals, right? I'm not even saying they physically look alike. I'm saying they look like sleazy ass individuals. Oh, well, what do you mean by that? I'm saying they're fucking con men. All right, that's what I'm fucking saying. And this proves it. Of any faith, of no faith, but specifically the Jewish faith.
Given me, and to all of my sisters and brothers of the Jewish faith, or any faith at all, or no faith at all, I want you to know that my commitment to your safety, my commitment to Jewish safety, is the same commitment that I have to the safety of my own daughters.
I'm sorry. Of your own flesh and blood, your offspring, your children, the same? I mean, you're expected to give your life for your child. You're expected to sacrifice your health, your well-being, your sanity for your child. No sacrifice is too large, right? And he's saying that for Jewish people specifically, and the rest, whoever you may be, but for Jewish people specifically, I want you to know, I'm not a scary brown man. I'm not a terrorist. All right? I'm not like them. I'm not a fundamentalist. All right? I would never resist your colonization. I would embrace it with open arms, and I would thank you. That's what he's saying. Hell, what he is saying right now, El Sayed is saying, I would give you my daughters for your Zionist project. That's what you should be fucking hearing. It's embarrassing, it's deplorable, it's all those fucking things, but it should be unsurprising. That's the one thing that we should all recognize and acknowledge. This should not be surprising. This is some basic ass shit. This is predictable. I mean, there's really almost not much fun to say. I mean, it's not really fun to say. It's just a matter of fucking time before they do this. Every single time. Spineless. Absolute spineless.
Because if there is one question of a political philosophy that ought to animate us all is, what would we build, what would we do if we treated all of our kids like they were all of our kids? How would we spend our money? Where would we put our investment?
I'm so glad that happened. I'm so glad that happened to him. And his big moment when everyone's clapping, just perfect fucking timing.
How would we embrace one another? What kind of schools would we build? What kind of healthcare would we offer? What kind of jobs would we protect? And I say this because there could not be a greater contrast between that philosophy and the cynicism of Mike Rogers. See, Mike's a guy who spent 14 years in Congress with one goal: to figure out how to cash out the day he left. And
who cares, bro? Who cares? Because you're going to be doing the exact same thing. In fact, you're doing it now. You're doing it now. You're cashing in now within the Zionist entity. You're cashing in with the Zionist community. I mean, what was the purpose or goal of this? Who was requesting this? And now, obviously, the liberals are going to say, well, you have to understand the general's next. The general's next. So, of course, he has to start playing this game and start catering to the general audience, not just the left wing. But mind you, again, not even a democratic socialist. Over here saying, I'm a capitalist. And still he got the left support. Still he got the support from the left. So why do this? If you're not even willing to pretend to be a democratic socialist, but you are willing to go out of your way to highlight how you will sacrifice your own flesh and blood, your daughters, for the Zionist project, what does that tell you about this man? And mind you, what if they're his sons? What about sons? I just want to know. You know, maybe this guy's like, you know what, my daughters, they're going to change their last name. The El Sayed legacy will not live on. So yeah, take them, Israel. What if there were sons? Would that change the equation at all? I'm just asking. I'm wondering. I want to understand you better, doctor. You know? But individuals like this, I mean, it's predictable. At least it's constant. At least it's constant, though. Who is this one right here? Ah. Yeah. Another victor. Brought to you by Drop Site News. What do we have? What do we got? Progressive William Lawrence, after winning Michigan's 7th District Democratic primary, pledged to vote for Hakeem Jeffries as House Speaker, reversing a position he held earlier in his campaign, already breaking those promises. We love to see it. In October, Lawrence was among a group of progressive candidates refusing to commit to Jeffries, telling Axios, "I hope to have an alternative to Jeffries to vote for." He also said he hopes to speak with members of the Congressional Black Caucus to unite to defeat the Republican incumbent. Let's hear him say it in his own words. Let's hear him say it in his own words. But you got to love all this buildup right here. Come on, Michigan.
I look forward to having conversations very soon with members of the CBC to unite so that we can beat Tom Barrett in November.
Did the chat freeze? My bad. Let me adjust this. No, I'm seeing y'all. I'm reading y'all. Reminder that women keep the family name in Islam, by the way. Well, they're doing it wrong. I didn't know that at all. I did not know that at all. Shit. Our last names don't mean shit anyway, so, you know, good on them. Good on them. But, you know. By the way, bro, I'm so fucking pissed off right now. Ah, found it. We're live. All right. Well, let's get to this.
November. But additionally, I'm very proud of the work I've done alongside the Black community here in Lansing, especially on the issue of housing, where I've worked alongside Black-led organizations to stop unjust evictions, build affordable housing, and create pathways into homeownership. So I'm proud of that work and those relationships. We're going to keep building it here on the ground and begin to restore some trust in DC with some of the members you mentioned.
Restore some trust as you're about to walk back. Wow. One of your early campaign positions. I love it. I love just the complete, it's not a lack of self-awareness. It's just an obvious, you know, opportunism, performative nonsense that these individuals do. They know that once they win, the so-called DSA can't do shit to them. They can't hold them accountable. So who gives a fuck if you walk back on a few campaign promises? Who cares? Who is going to hold this motherfucker accountable? Can someone tell me who is going to hold them accountable? No one. Absolutely no one. They can't. That's what you need to understand. They're not a party. There's no way of punishing them. They're an organization. The best that they could do is resend. No. Resend? Why do I feel like I'm saying that wrong? Why do I feel like I'm saying that wrong? I'm not saying it wrong, am I? Yeah, resend.
Rescind.
Oh, rescind. Rescind. Ah. The best they can do is rescind, perhaps. Their endorsement, and that's it. Did they endorse this fucker, or they they were too cowardly and they simply said, "Hey, we recommend him." He is a member of the Working Families Party and the Democratic Soldiers of America. But was he endorsed? Oh, Cheeseman. Hold on. We got the Cheeseman. I was not following this at all. Progressive House candidate William Lawrence said Wednesday that he allowed his Democratic Socialists of America membership to lapse within the past month, explaining that he wanted to focus on uniting swing voters in Michigan's battleground 7th district. Quote, I've got a lot of respect for DSA and the work that they're doing around the country, but I felt a need to make it very clear that the platform we're running on here is the one that has come up based on the conversations we're having across the 7th district. Damn, bro, getting publicly rejected like that, I love it. I love it. The Sunrise Movement co-founder, who is backed by Senator Bernie Sanders, won Tuesday's three-way Democratic primary in a Lansing-based congressional district and is set to face Rep. Tom Barrett in November. So he gets the Bernie blessing, but walks away from the DSA. Lawrence said he allowed his DSA membership to lapse because he wanted voters to understand that his campaign is centered on the district and the concerns he has heard from residents. I just want to make it very clear that I'm here to represent the people of this district and focus on the issues that are bringing people together, he said. Lawrence pointed to major progressive issues, including the cost of living, healthcare, gasoline, and groceries, which he said were resonating across the district. He said his goal was to unite voters. Lawrence told CNN that his decision to allow his membership to lapse, that's the third time they say that, right, was not due to his advancing to the general election. Oh, of course not. Well, how can you assume that he's politicking over here? How can you assume that he's, unprincipled and that he's an opportunist? It's not, it has nothing to do with that. It's about unity. He further declined to identify a broader disagreement with DSA and said he would address particular policy questions individually. Instead, he described himself as an organizer and coalition builder with an agenda based on local concerns. Lawrence defeated former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Richard Brink, and former Navy SEAL Matt Macedon in Tuesday's Democratic primary. I mean, Jesus, man, that's a great Democratic lineup there. Brink was backed by former Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm and Jim Belchard, while Macedon was backed by Senator Ellis Slotkin. That being said, I do find this quite hilarious. Tell you what, we'll start a goal. Start a little goal here. We'll do this 2 hours. What is the goal here? The goal is unity. We will unite. There you go. I mean, it's just as inspiring, no? As anything else. You have to really respect it. You got to respect that. I do. Believe it or not, I sincerely respect it. Tell me it's frozen again. Oh, that's why it's not. Oh. Interesante. If I went down. Oh, it's fine. Unity. Wow, how pathetic, man. Honestly, this was sadder than I thought it would be.
And one of the members of the Congressional Black Caucus is Hakeem Jeffries. Have you spoken with him since you won? And do you plan to vote for him to be the next Speaker of the House?
I do plan to vote for him to be the next speaker, and I look forward to speaking with him soon.
So you haven't spoken with him yet.
I look forward to having conversations.
How pathetic. How pathetic, man. And this is like the guy, one of the co-founders of the Sunrise Movement. Checks out, man. It checks out. Seems about white. It's actually, all right, yeah, perfect timing here. There we go.
I voted for Kamala Harris. You got a problem?
Sonic Master 327, appreciate the super chat. Unity's worth $5 now, the economy these days. That's great. I mean, look, one thinks of unity as simply unifying and bringing together. But in reality, unity requires sacrifice. Unity requires you to abandon your identity just for a brief moment and to simply say, where are we at? Still not working. Why is that? Let's see here. Okay, we're here. Unity. And this is for Sonic Master. A lot of people assume that unity is just a word, and it isn't. You see, unity is a feeling that when comrades come together to organize to work for a common cause, and that is the Democratic Party, first and foremost, that you understand that our unity unifies us together. That is not simply enough to say we're all in this together, but to actually come together as a part of a collective, unified unity, if you will. And with that in mind, when we do partake in this unification of forces and collaborations, you have to remember that it's not an individual task, but really it's a collective, unified front. And so your $5 aren't simply monetary, financial. It's not a donation. It's not a super chat. Don't think about it that way. Think about it as a unifying factor. All right.
I voted for Kamala Harris. You got a
problem? For a new DSA future, may we all live in peace. Salutes. Thank you so much. The Lacos plays. We go big to address the unification that is required. All right. Do me a favor, y'all. Appreciate y'all being here. Hit the like button. Hit the like button if you too would walk back on your promises and your campaign slogans, even before winning the general. All right. Do me that
I voted
favor.
for Kamala Harris. You got a problem?
Unite 2 tortillas with cheese. Thank you so
voted
much.
for Kamala
Alex
Harris. You got a
Chava,
problem?
77. Thank you so much. Amen, brother. Thank you so much. Astrophage 97 for the super chat there. I will say this. Tortillas con queso. Some call it a quesadilla, if you will. Has been a saving grace of mine since I was a chamaco. And then one day I realized that you could put other types of things in your quesadillas, like bacon, tocino, if you will. And that the glorious, cheap Mexican grilled cheese, as some people call it, can be elevated to another culinary level. And of course, all praise be to unity. That's what we're here to do. Amen to that. All right. I'm having too much fun. Yeah. This is the hype train, y'all. Nah, I mean, I miss doing this for real. Like, I do enjoy this. And Wednesday, I was trying to stream on Wednesday, but it just didn't work out. I was pretty tired. So my apologies there. Moving forward, though, shorter streams, but we'll make up for it on Fridays. Thursdays and Fridays, we'll make up for it. Thursdays and Fridays, y'all, get ready, because we're going to start doing some marathon streams. It'll be fun. I hope that y'all are checking out Deculturation Live. I'm honestly and genuinely trying my best to edit these live streams and put them out as soon as possible. Of course, that's going to take a little bit of time. But, you know, we'll get there. We'll get there. Sooner or later, we'll get there to a constant flow, to a constant thumbnail theme. But for the time being, subscribe to Deculturation Live. Today is Thursday. Today is Thursday. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's gonna take me a second, y'all. It's gonna take me a second. It's gonna take me a second. I promise. It'll take me a quick little second. After that, we'll get used to this. But I appreciate all the support. It sincerely helps a lot. So, that in mind, Thirsty Thursdays. If only, if only. All right. I will admit, though, I have not had a quesadilla in a good minute. Is this good for y'all? It's a little. Let's back up a little. All right, that's fine. All right, let's get to this article here. Appreciate all the support, y'all. Thank you so much. Jeffries, skeptic Democrats face Black Caucus hostility. And this is by Andrew Solander and Mark Caputo. I mean, this just inspires so much hope here, doesn't it? Some members of the Congressional Black Caucus want a condition for incoming Democrats seeking to join their ranks. You have to support House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Now, chat, and I know you'll know this, but I just want to make sure that we're on the same page because I'm just a tiny bit ignorant. It happens to the best of us. So I need some of y'all that have followed Hakeem Jeffries and followed the white so-called left that just have it out for this poor individual.
Any other black folk want to engage in radical activist language in this fucking chat?
Who coined the nickname for Hakeem Jeffries? Or who am I thinking about? Who am I thinking about? Am I the racist? Oh, okay. Apex Shakur. That was Charlemagne the Hack. Ah, okay. I was wondering who did that. Oh, this is madness. Let's see if I can show you all this. Look at this. This is sick. The way that like all these white radlibs are just so quick to be like Apex Shakur. And this isn't one of those where like I'm being hypersensitive. I'm trying to protect Hakeem Jeffries. It's just kind of like you see it and you notice it when they're like a little too giddy. You know, they're just a little too excited. And you're like, you're getting more joy out of this than what should be like acceptable. Or should be not even acceptable. No. You're getting too much joy of this for it to be normal. How about that? I don't think it's normal to be so excited to call him that. I mean, whatever. I mean, who am I, right? Like, if you're gonna call him that, okay, I guess. But it does seem like a lot of the white left is kind of like excited, like eager to call him that. I don't know why. I don't understand it. But I do think that it's like here's why it's weird, because a lot of these white radlibs like have no respect for the Shakur family to begin with. So for them to, and it's not like Charlemagne the Hack either has any respect for them at all. But for me, it's like, I mean, especially, you know, you don't have to even say especially because of this, but considering, you know, Assata Shakur's passing, and how did any white radlib cover that like whatsoever, like at all? I don't think so. So again, for me, I don't want it to come off like I'm hypersensitive. I'm like, oh, you got to protect Hakeem Jeffries. No, no, no. What I'm saying is, why do you get so much joy out of it? Why do you enjoy it that much? And it makes me uncomfortable. This is why I don't really organize with white people. I don't really, befriend them. It's because they always find a way to let that shit out. They always find a way to express that. And usually it gets a pass, and they're pretty smart, the white rad libs, to co-opt a phrase or a slogan or an insult that somebody from the black community or a non-white community, places upon one of their compradors. And white people come around and are fucking giddy to use it. But then it's like, like, what are we doing here? Notorious RBG. Yeah, man. Wow, I had forgotten about that. Wow. Bruh. Sweeter than anything. Thank you so much for that. I had forgotten about that. When they bury that fucking old ass racist, the name went with it. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, but also, why would you remind me? They were also proud of that, even though they were all just parroting each other. Yeah, man. That's so true. Ah. That's, yeah. Yeah, no, just annoying and just outright racist. Now, that being said, Hakeem Jeffries is fucking trash. No question about that. But all the white people be like, oh my gosh, Apex Shakur. Yeah, we don't fuck with you either for different reasons. Why it matters. Things could get dicey fast, as several black Democrats who are all but guaranteed to be elected in November have declined to commit to voting for Jeffries. But their Elisa Avila Chevalier wants in. The Afro-Latino nominee in New York's 13th district told Semaphore she will seek to join both the CBC and the Hispanic caucus if elected. Yo, we have a tiebreaker. Dr. Ball, paging Dr. Ball. I think we have to have the Hispanic caucus versus the Black caucus showdown once and for all. And I think the winner gets to keep their Elisa Avila Chevalier as their revolutionary vanguard, Marxist-Leninist leader. Let's do it. Now, can I be honest? If I were in her shoes, I would create the Afro-Latino caucus. I would just create it. Just to really fuck shit up and make things awkward. Do it. Please. Yo, phrasing, homie. K-Nosk. What side would I be on? I was like, what? It took me a second. That was great. That was really great. Yeah. Yeah. That's hilarious. That's funny, man. I don't know, as a Afro-Latino Mexican historian, I feel like I'm split, right? Because growing up, people didn't understand the struggle, man. We gotta stop that one, man. That one's gonna get me in trouble. That one's gonna. Oh yeah. True. Yes. When in doubt. Yeah. Pennsylvania State Rep Chris Rapp, the nominee for a Philadelphia-based House seat, told Axios he is definitely planning to join the CBC. I absolutely plan on joining the Black Caucus, said Milat Quiros of Colorado, another Black Democrat running in a safely blue district. All three DSA-aligned candidates have declined to commit to voting for Jeffries as the Speaker. Quiros previously told Axios she will not vote for any Democrat for a leadership position if they take corporate PAC money, which would apply to Jeffries. We're hearing several members of the Black Caucus speaking on the condition of anonymity to offer frank remarks about likely incoming colleagues. Said criticism of Democratic leadership could be an issue. One senior CBC member, when asked if Avila Chevalier would be allowed to join, told Axios, not if she doesn't support Hakeem along with other issues. Asked if that would apply to all incoming members, the lawmaker replied, yes. Avila Chevalier absolutely will not be welcome if she doesn't support Hakeem. Under no circumstance would anyone be welcome with a warm embrace if they are going to undermine the almost motherfuckers, almost. Oh shit, oh man, there is nothing wrong with serving table. Oh man, close call. Almost got me. That's hilarious. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. Come on, where are we?
And so what we are fighting for are the policies that are concentrated in working people and communities of color and the historically disenfranchised to make that more possible in America, to make us be a nation that keeps its promise and lives up to the words in our founding charter. So I want to thank you all again. Are the policy story, but because it's in the United States of America, and there is everything dignified. There is nothing wrong with driving the buses that take your family to work. There is nothing wrong with being a working person in the United States of America, and there is everything dignified about it.
I just hate how inconsistent it is. That's what pisses me off. That was close though. Yeah, no, it's definitely ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah. She's our hero, you know. I cannot wait to vote for her for president. Yeah. Haruto says dignified. Yeah. Just no path. Well, I kind of have to do it now, right? Under no circumstances. Between the lines, loyalty to Democratic leadership isn't a formal. Ayo Queen, wow. Espiritus, wow. Loyalty to Democratic leadership isn't a formal criterion for the CBC membership, a source familiar with the matter told Axios, but it may be a de facto one. Support for Hakeem is not a written rule, at least not yet, the source said, but it would be a challenge to accept someone in the CBC who doesn't support him for Speaker. The source added, the CBC has far left people, squad members, DSA members, but they are committed to Black people and the Black agenda. Hakeem Jeffries, as Speaker of the House, is about progress for Black people and the Black agenda. This article, I did not realize how tough these quotes are gonna be. You can't come to the CBC and blow up the point of the CBC. It does not make sense. I mean, yeah, solid points. I'll be honest. Okay, I'll tell you what I wanted to add here. In fact, I'll be a coward and I'll type it out instead. I'll type it out. It'll be on screen, but I won't say it. How about that? I feel like this is what I needed at the end. Call me out, hold me accountable, please. But it's just such bullshit that you almost needed it like a laugh track in the background to like psychologically, you know, make you be like, oh yeah, no, that must be right. Yeah, no, you know, somebody's agreeing with it in the back. Somebody agreed back there. No, look. I would be down to do a lot of this, but the smearing that y'all have already done, just the complete thrashing of my character, my brand, if you will, is so corrupt. I'm scared of the soundbite. Yeah. I'm sweating over here. I'm like, it's rough. It's rough. Yeah, man. Look, me encanta la mala vida. The second House Democrat who spoke on the condition of anonymity. There we go. I think anonymity. The second House Democrat who spoke on the condition of anonymity stressed that while these members may not be welcome with open arms, it doesn't mean they will be turned away entirely. In other words, we'll let you in, but you're gonna get like, you're gonna really work for the unity. You're really gonna have to work for the unity. That's what it is. We have had Republicans, the lawmaker noted. The CBC allowed former GOP rep Maya Love to join, though it has denied other Republicans. Why did Maya Love, why was she allowed to join? Oh wow, she passed away in March 2025 at the age of 49. That's super young. Was she allowed to join the Congressional Black Caucus? A little throwback here. Maya Love joins a group she promised to dismantle. Here's what Maya Love told the Desert. What the fuck? Deseret? Am I okay right now? That's an actual word? Wow.
Deseret.
Okay. Here's what Maya Love told the Deseret News about the Congressional Black Caucus in 2012, the year she lost her first U.S. House race. Let's get out of here. Yes, I would join the Congressional Black Caucus and try to take that thing apart from inside out. No! Oh, dude, I low-key love her. This is some type of shit that I would say. I'm like, why won't you let me join this club? My sole goal and purpose is to destroy it. Like, why won't they let me? And they let her in. And let her in. Yes, that's awesome. It's demagoguery. They sit there and ignite emotion and ignite racism when there isn't. They use their position to instill fear. Hope and change is turned into fear and blame. Fear that everybody is going to lose everything and blaming Congress for everything instead of taking responsibility. While Rep. Love who softened some of her rhetoric about the CBC in 2014, saying that change came from the inside out, was among the 46 names called at a ceremonial swearing in for the group, which hasn't had a Republican in the midst since Rep. Allen West from Florida in 2012. Wow. For the handful of black Republicans in Congress, whether to join the CBC has always been a question. Former Congressman okay, I don't care. Interesting. Huh. Collective Struggle says FD made it big time now. Got Killer Mike dissing him on his new track. So yeah, I mean, it's that Red Bull cipher. Overall, I thought it was weak. Did not appreciate the nepotism. But what I will say is that in this house, Killer Mike was dissing Dr. Ball and Dr. Ball only. That's all I'm gonna say. In this house, we diss Dr. Ball. Yeah. I'd rather live in that world. I'd rather live in a world where Killer Mike is more pressed by the academic work, especially in regards to, the propaganda, buying power, than he is by FD's videos. One would hope. The group has also rebuffed some Democrats, including Rep. Adriano Espelat, the Afro-Latino chair of the Hispanic caucus, whom Avila Chevalier unseated in June. Oh, drama. So you're telling me that there's a possibility where they just come... Hold on, I gotta ask now. I gotta ask. For my people, I gotta ask. Have there ever been Afro-Latino members in the CBC? Let's see. Yes, is what I'm hearing. Okay. Wait, Karen Bass is... Oh no, she's just the head. Oh, she's the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. I did not know that. Wait. Huh. Well, this is from 2020, but okay. CBC head, nothing is stopping Afro-Latinos from joining both Black, Hispanic caucuses. The head of the Congressional Black Caucus said there is nothing stopping incoming members who identify as both African American and Latino from joining the Black and Hispanic caucuses, an issue that's flared up recently as a younger candidate challenged the perceived status quo. The comments from CBC chair Karen Bass on Wednesday come after Democratic candidate Richie Torres blasted the group in an op-ed. Oh, whoa, there's an op-ed. No way, we're reading this. Stop. All right, everything's going out the window. We're fucking reading this. This is perfect. No. Chat. I'm sorry. We're Vic, crucify me. All right. That's hilarious. Hold on. There's an op-ed over the weekend for seemingly denying membership to lawmakers who identify as both Black and Latino. Pick one. Oh no, we gotta read this. Why did nobody tell me this was done? And by Richie Torres? I understand. Yes, sell my soul, whatever. I'm not creating an account, homie. I'm not creating an account. Hold on. This is too fucking good. This is too good. Yeah. And here I was wondering what we were going to cover today. No, I had a lot actually, but I'm kind of saving all that for tomorrow. Let's try this one first. Okay, it's not there. Not there. Give it a sec, give it a sec, give it a sec. Damn. Are we not going to find it? It's a huge bummer. Rutu, thank you for the super chat. Can you be Afro Latino if you don't speak Spanish? Yes, you can. No, I found it. I found it. Yes, Rutu, I recommend this great Afro Latino documentary called. There's actually two. It's a two-part documentary. There's gonna be a third one. They're working on it. Called Across the Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse. All right. So check that out. It's great.
Who's the little Puerto Rican?
Thank you so much for the super chat. All right. This is from Richie Torres, 2020. Yo soy Afro-Latino, but I can join both the Black and the Hispanic caucuses in Congress. Esto tiene que cambiar. All right. Yeah. This is too good. No, that's all you... what are we doing here? That's all the screenshot. Wow. Whenever I'm about to enter a new setting, like the New York City Council in 2014 or Congress in 2021, I never have the luxury of taking acceptance for granted. My life experience has taught me this. I often wonder, will I be accepted for who I am? A gay man, an Afro-Latino, a millennial sometimes surrounded by older colleagues with more experience. Mind you, I'm reading this shit with the fucking like Chicano ass accent. It makes no sense for like a Puerto Rican, you know? That's the next one is oh, I'm feeling Puerto Rican. Hey chat, quick question chat. Just sidebar. What have I been saying for the last like 2 weeks, week or so? What time did I say that the streams were going to be for Wednesdays and Thursdays moving forward? If there was going to be Wednesday streams? Chat, sidebar. I'll be more specific. What times have I previously mentioned that the Thursday streams were going to start? Thursday streams, the current iteration of the streams that I've been talking about picking up more hours at work. I need your help here. See if anyone remembers. I see a 7 p.m. That's interesting. Wow, everybody's off. For Thursdays? Thank you. Yes. Somebody got it. Thank you. Yes. There we go. Without me saying it, thank you so much. Yes. Collective Struggle, 5 p.m. Dialectic Cato, 5 p.m. Yep. Almond Joy, I thought 5 p.m. West Coast. Yep. All right, so some people were paying attention. Speedy Blue says 4 to 5 your time, I think. Thank you so much. You said 4 p.m. your time, I think. Yep. Initially, okay. It's funny because my whole thing is just to be as consistent and as honest as possible. And it's fucking hilarious. It's fucking hilarious when people try to like trip me up or make it seem like I'm being disingenuous, when in reality, I'm just trying to do what I said I was going to do. I'm just trying to be consistent. My hopes was 4 p.m. when I first threw it out. And then once I started seeing how traffic was at that time, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to need that extra hour to shower, eat, spend some time with the dog. So yeah, I said, 5. So I'm glad that I wasn't just hallucinating. I'm glad that I wasn't saying anything out of turn. But it is always, it's always telling. It's always telling. These things are always illuminating for me. Yeah. But what are we going to do? What are we going to do? It's just... when you feel like people don't actually respect you and your goals, trust your gut. Trust your fucking gut. I wish I could find this article here. Man. But I just can't. I can't seem to find it. I know somebody says that archive was still up, but I'm not seeing it. Okay. That's unfortunate. I really want to read that. I really want to read that with y'all, but it looks like we're not. Shit. Hold on. Time out. I forgot to bring the charger over here. I'll be right back. I don't want to hit you, buddy. Hold on. I'll be right back, y'all. Sorry, my bad. You know what? Let me leave y'all playing something. This stream's gonna get demonetized anyway, so do me a favor and support the channel, subscribe, super chat, super stickers are turned on. Check out the Patreon if you want to support there, because this shit's getting demonetized because of this.
Atlanta, Georgia. My friend and brother T.I., man. Yeah. My rapping comrade, man. The Monty Harris, man. Can't call him nephew. Boy, rap too good. Ooh. This for the A, man. Let me tell y'all about mine. Go. One phone call, I can get you in the flame of the office of the mayor. In talks with the owner of the Hawks and the president and head coach, bitch, I'm a player. Got a badass wife, got a stupid ass body, she's smart enough to play dumb. Got a bad bitch with a little light skin, hit her ice cold like Trae Young. You ain't seen nothing like me. I'm something more like a G. Look at me, guy. Sitting here crookedly high. Sit on the border of the high. That's a museum, you peon. City treat me like I'm Dion. Look at the Wolf of P Street. Look at the new Dominique. You think Atlanta? Look what the future gon' be. The future is me. Man, I'ma keep it a buck. I'ma keep getting rich as fuck. I give a damn or fuck about your opinion of me and my partner from Bankhead, we went and bought Bankhead seafood and we opened that bitch right back up. Fuck is you done? Side that your dick suckers run about us cause we rich and famous. Top of the back of the list. Move like a capitalist. I'm moving capital, bitch. A rapper's word get heard and help to move policy understate capital, bitch. Reader of books and the leader of crooks. I am the Negro Magneto. We are the villains, no chillin'. We living until life is over. Finito. Finito. Whoa. Finito. Whoa. Die in the garden like Vito. Finito. 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 Die in the garden like Vito. Finito. Whoa. Die in the garden like Vito. Godfather.
isn't me though.
It's you though. It's you though.
Charlotte's word and told me all I need. Might as well think hell.
Finito. Whoa. Finito. Whoa. Die in the garden. Rich and famous. Top of the back of the list. Move like a capitalist. I'm moving capital, bitch. A rapper's word get heard and help to move policy understate capital, bitch. Reader of books and the leader of crooks. I am the Negro Magneto. We are the villains, no chillin'. We living until life is over. Finito.
Shout out Cuddly Mike. Shout out Dr. Ball. You gotta respond. Dr. Ball, you gotta respond. The clock is ticking. You gotta get in the booth. All right. The ball is in your court, Dr. Ball. There's no excuse. All I'm saying is you got time to make a second edition of your book. You got time to spit some bars. All right. Now I recommend taking the roots angle and be like, no, I'm taking it back to when we had the band. Yeesh. Yeah, Dr. Ball, drop some bars for Killer Mike, and this is yours. Prize. The winner gets the helmet. How about that? Ay. All right. Too much fun over here. That's wild. So yeah, support the stream because that right there. Look, Killer Mike has the power, man. I don't know if you caught Dr. Ball and Renee trying to, from their ivory tower, pass judgment on a revolutionary leader like Killer Mike. And he said he made one phone call. And Google was pulling that stream. That's how powerful this man is. A Democratic leadership source strongly pushed back against the notion that any incoming Black Democrats would be denied entry to the CBC based on their vote for Speaker. I don't believe the CBC decides its membership based on one's pledge to support leadership, the source said, adding that Avila Chevalier will get the same review process as everyone else. I don't think it's a thing at the end of the day, the source said. Sure. The bottom line, as with every new Congress, matters related to membership for the 120th Congress will be addressed following the 2026 election cycle through the Congressional Black Caucus established process. A CBC spokesperson told Axios, right now, our focus is on voting rights while remaining committed to advancing policies that expand opportunity, protect fundamental rights, and improve the lives of the communities we serve. Bam. That was a great read. Shout out to Richie Torres. Richie! Not my Richie! Magic. I have to disagree with you only because, and I don't think I really heard any of the Red Bull ciphers until Absol, Joey Badass, and Big Sean did it. That is, man, I still re-listen to that. I still listen to that again and again. Have we ever cared this much about a House Speaker before forced to vote? Who the fuck cares? Well, I think why this is so important is because Richie Torres, I mean, this is going to be the guy for at least a decade. At least a decade. So I think that's why it kind of matters, where it's like, no, you really have to whip everyone into formation. Actually, let me take that back. Hold on. Well, no, don't they call him the House Whip? Right, which is, that's not my fault. Hold on. Or is the Speaker and the House Whip something different? I thought your role as House Speaker is to, you know, whip the votes into, to get the appropriate votes. A House Whip is a party leader in the U.S. House of Representatives responsible for counting votes, tracking members, alignment on upcoming legislation, and mobilizing party members to vote. The term originates from whipper in fox hunting. Oh, okay. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I'm not doing any drops right now. I am treading lightly as we speak. There is one article that I want to check out here. That I'm very, very invested. I want to see how this turns out, because this could go plenty of ways, and I want to make sure that I'm looking at the right article, because I could be wrong. Hold on. Hopefully they're not a big tweeter over here. Okay, yes. Found what I was looking for, but I also wanted to kind of highlight this here. Before we read this article. Oh, no. There we go. Actually, no, this is fine. Okay, awesome.
As you think about this Calais decision and the effective gutting of the Voting Rights Act through Shelby and Calais, how do we best respond? You're a brilliant lawyer, been a legislator and an executive. How do we best respond to what is really a setback in terms of a tool that we've used to protect our voting rights? How do we best respond?
Okay, real talk?
Real talk, straight talk.
What is going on today? What's with all these tests? Why is God testing me today? What is? Oh, USA. Wow. Keeping it easy. Yeah, the second position in the House is the party whip, not the Speaker. All right. Thank you. Yeah, man. Ay. I mean, this is Boondocks level of just a joke. It's a joke. It's a fucking parody of itself. And the idea that that the main reason that people didn't support Kamala Harris was, you know, anti-black misogyny. When this is like, I'm not trying to downplay or diminish that, but what I'm going to say is like, I don't think she's a likable person. She comes off like a tryhard. That's the main problem. You want to make it look like it's effortless. You want to make it look like you're a natural. You want to make it look sincere. It's a little bit too much of, yeah, exactly like Hillary Clinton. Another one was trying a little too hard, but she was a white woman. So other white women were like, oh yeah, I try hard too. And you know, the rest of the non-whites were kind of like, well, you know, we all have that try hard white person, liberals I'm speaking, right? That they're kind of used to and slightly fond of. I'm just saying.
Respond to what is really a setback in terms of a tool that we've used to protect our voting rights. How do we best respond?
Okay, real talk?
Real talk, straight talk.
I honestly don't believe that it will be any time soon that we are going to revive the Voting Rights Act. So I don't believe that it is going to be the best use of our energy right now to try to get that done, because I don't know that it's going to get done right now.
So inspirational. Oh my goodness. I mean, she should have been president. Imagine her in position of power. Just, you know, yeah, I just don't think that it's a good time. Usage, energy wise, resources, allocation. Why even try? I don't think it's going to happen. Why even try? Why even try? Why even try? Just imagine all the wonderful things she could have applied this to. You know, like child hunger. Why even try? I don't think it's going to happen. You know, I love it. But before we finish up with this, it's a teaser for that. I do want to knock this out right here. Is this, actually it's not. It's not, no, okay, no, this is not it. Okay, I thought this was specifically about the Black Caucus, but it's not. So we won't read this one, we'll read this one instead. Real talk. I'm assuming it's the same article, different. Yes, all right. So let's wrap this one up then.
The way this Congress is composed and the way they have been treating civil rights issues. I'm hopeful, but I don't know that it's going to happen anytime soon. So I think part of it is we've got to think about now, and I was talking to this young woman about this, now when they have destroyed the infrastructure we built over decades and had in place with the Voting Rights Act for 50 years, how are we going to achieve the goal when that infrastructure has been destroyed? And we're going to have to be creative. Part of it is these midterms are coming up, and it will make a decision about who at least rules the Senate, the House, if not the Senate. And so we have to do the work of telling people right now, check your voter registration status. Make sure you aren't one of those people whose names got purged inappropriately. Make sure you've checked on your polling place, because they've been playing games around moving the polling place where your grandparents always voted. And so on election day, when they go to that elementary school down the block, they might find that that polling place is closed. Registering folks to vote and having an agenda that is about turning out the vote in the greatest numbers we have ever seen, so that in light of and in this environment where they are cheating, we will be too big to rig. Too big to rig.
Too big to rig. Says it twice. You know, they ran that shit by the audience. It tested well. Too big to rig. Nice. And so often, a lot of liberals get annoyed by saying, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are, two wings of the same bird. There's a raunchier, lowbrow, if you will, saying or type of saying towards that, something about cheeks that I'm just not comfortable with. As a Catholic family oriented channel. I'm not comfortable with, some people out there, what they're saying. But what I will say is, like, one of the main signifiers of this is the fact that the Democratic Party is always tailing the Republican Party. And so now you're going to start seeing them talk about, election fraud, election rigging, and all this shit, which obviously, just gerrymandering alone is that. But it's like, for them, it's like, well, it worked for the fucking Republicans. It's got to work for us. And I don't know how enthusiastic Democratic voters are going to be for that. I just really don't know. Because you took the win out of their sails by not going after Donald Trump when you had the chance. Because you wanted to use, you wanted to use him as a boogeyman. And it backfired again, just like the Pied Piper strategy that Hillary implemented. But all right, let's go back to some real talk here.
How do we best respond? You're a brilliant lawyer, been a legislator and an executive. How do we best respond to what is really a setback in terms of a tool that we've used to protect our voting rights? How do we best respond?
Okay, real talk?
Real talk, straight talk.
All right. This real talk from Kamala Harris on the Voting Rights Act, says the quiet part out loud, by Margaret Kimberly, Barr executive editor and senior columnist. There we go. How's that for y'all? Good enough? Not too much. That's fine. The evisceration of the Voting Rights Act is of great concern to Black voters, but most of them are affiliated with the Democratic Party, whose leadership have no real interest in making it a political instrument again. Recently, Kamala Harris made that lack of concern quite clear and demonstrated the urgency of redirecting Black politics away from the misleaders. Kamala Harris' tone-deaf response to a question about the Voting Rights Act, VRA, at the National Urban League Convention was exceptionally bad. And I think that you could apply that to a lot of her responses. I don't understand where, like, for liberals, it became memory hold that Kamala Harris dropped out of her presidential campaign before California, because she wanted to maintain some type of political capital, because she knew she was going to get washed in her own home state. Where are we at here? Right. Even for the woman known for odd, nervous laughter and incomprehensible word salad remarks. On this occasion, she had one simple job to do: answer what should have been a softball question about a fundamental legal right that has been neutered by the courts, but which Black people hold dear and want to see restored. Urban League President and CEO Mark Morrell asked her about the status of the Voting Rights Act and how its enforcement provisions were essentially gutted by two Supreme Court decisions: Shelby County v. Holder in 2013 and later by Louisiana v. Calais in 2026. How do we best respond to what is really a setback in terms of a tool that we use to protect our voting rights? Despite having been the Attorney General of California, the United States Senator, a presidential candidate, despite having been the Attorney General of California, a United States Senator, a presidential candidate, and Vice President of the United States, Harris is often either flummoxed in situations where most politicians are glib or completely misreads her audience and appears dismissive. The clue that she was heading in the direction of indifference was her use of vernacular before answering the question. When she responded, his stream today is because here's what I want to do. I want to stand up and put like I want to do this. I want to do it. Fuck it. This is what Kamala Harris said. All right, I'm gonna act this one out. Hold on. I'm gonna have to squat a little bit. Where are we? The clue that she was heading in the The clue that she was heading in the direction of indifference was her use of vernacular before answering the question. When she responded, "Real talk." I just feel like you need that power stance, but I need like the shoulder pads, and I need the pants that Hillary Clinton wears all the time, like those power suits, and just hit the pose. Yeah. It was clear that not only had she not read that particular room, but she knew or cared little about the mood of millions of black people. I honestly don't believe that it will be anytime soon that we're going to revive the Voting Rights Act. So I don't believe it's going to be the best use of our energy right now to try to get that done, because I don't know that it will get done right now the way this Congress is composed and the way they have been treating civil rights issues. What I will say is, like, again, it goes to show that she didn't have it, right? In other words, she didn't bring it. No, what I'm trying to say is, you have this opportunity. You could have said all this and just tagged it at the end, and maybe the extended video will prove, me wrong, but just tag it at the end saying, this is why we need to vote them out desperately now, today, in order to get started on fixing what they broke, right? Like, that's the angle you want to take. Like, you can say all this being like, yeah, I just don't think that right now. I don't think that right now we can salvage the Voting Rights Act with the current Congress that we have. These MAGA Republicans are so desperate to destroy, the leaps, the progress that we as a nation have come together, have unified to push forward, to make up for the sins of America, and really lay the groundwork for young black and brown children all across the United States to look forward to one day becoming a congressman, a senator, and dare I say, vice president, right? Because that's her ceiling. And so, so with that in mind, we have to vote them out immediately. Whether it's your local, whether it's midterms, whether it's the White House, we have to make sure that we remove them as soon as possible in order to regain the rights that our ancestors fought for, the right to vote. Right? I mean, that's just it's there, bro. It's there. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Harris did not bother to say what she does think is the best use of the people's energy, nor did she go through the motions of expressing care about the fundamental tool in the exercise of voting rights since 1965. Most politicians know when they should feign concern and readily express what may seem sincere, but what they are actually not taking seriously. We should not seek insincerity, but no one should be happy about getting the back of the hand of the most recent Democratic Party presidential nominee at a major civil rights gathering. I mean, I'm grateful for it, and I understand that what's being argued here is we shouldn't be advocating for them to lie to us. But it's kind of like, that's how low the bar has gone, right? And what I'm trying to say specifically is that if you think about it, black women have lowered the bar. Now, I'm not saying that. But what I do think is that after Obama, and I hate to credit him like this, but the reality is that he is a phenomenal politician. He is incredible on the mic, and he's got the look. Kamala did not have that. she's very, nervous and awkward. And like this article is pointing out, can't read a fucking room to save her life, much less to save her fucking presidential campaign. And with this, it's like, bro, like just pretend that you fucking care. Pretend that you fucking care. That's all that's being asked of you, and you cannot fucking do it. You just can't. Especially like you should know. I mean, look, there's a reason why AOC put on The Voice, because she could read the fucking room. Although it can be argued that Harris actually did the discerning public a favor with her miscue. Oh, okay. A shot in which the player fails to strike the ball properly with the cue. Huh. An error in reading, especially one caused by failure to respond correctly to a phonetic or a contextual cue in text. Yo, that's what I should have named the fucking channel. She let the cat out of the bag, as it were, revealing that the Democratic Party establishment, which depends on black voters to win the presidency and other offices, isn't at all serious about restoring the Voting Rights Act. They may pretend to go through a very elaborate motions. In fact, they will propose new legislation and call it the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, in honor of the late congressman, who was somehow anointed with the title Civil Rights Icon. Oof. Look, I'm gonna step, a little bit into the lane here and say, is that fair? Because I know that, and please somebody correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Kwame Ture like avoid talking shit about John Lewis because he's like, John Lewis was there, like he showed up, he was wrong, but he did, he actually followed through with what he believed in. Is that not like, am I misremembering this? Someone correct me if I'm wrong, either in the chat or in the comments. Oh, Ditter says, yeah, but that was way back then. Okay. Well, no. Ditter says, he's had far more transgressions. Excuse me. He's had far more transgressions at this point. Well, no, see, Ditter, at this point, he's fucking dead. So, unless you mean he's transgressing, like, I can't say the word. Unless you're saying that he's transgressing, like the astral plane, then maybe. But I think he's all right now. True. All right. First introduced in 2021, it has never received enough votes in the Senate needed to pass. This legislation is in good company, as Democrats failed to pass signature legislation like Build Back Better, which they also claim to support. But the end of the pre-clearance provisions, which gave the Voting Rights Act its teeth, was viewed as a major political loss. Kamala Harris did herself no favors by falling back on the tired refrain of powerlessness in the wake of the second Trump presidency. It is remarkable that she was unable to even utter fake platitudes. Of course, no one expects the Voting Rights Act to be restored by Donald Trump and a Republican-run Congress. But Harris couldn't muster enough common sense to talk about the future. Come on now. I mean, it was a softball interview with so many fucking setups. To say that the act was a high priority for Democrats who were eager to bring it back to life once they were back in office. Instead, her fumble told the unvarnished truth about her and about her party. Harris is not alone in running from a political fight and from political promises. Barack Obama ran for office in 2008, vowing to codify abortion rights into law as the 1973 Roe v. Wade Supreme Court decision, which protected those rights, was under attack. Just a few months into his first term in 2009, he announced that such legislation was not his highest priority after all. He got away unscathed because the corporate media and Democrats both covered for him. In 2022, the worst fears about Roe were realized when it was overturned by the Supreme Court and Obama remained largely untouched and escaped the criticism he so richly deserved. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what about the other presidents? What about the white presidents? Why didn't they codify Roe v. Wade? I'm just saying, Jimmy Carter could have done it. George W. Bush could have done it. George Washington could have done it. Ronald Reagan could have done it. Nixon could have done it. Why are we holding the first black president to these unfair and honestly racist standards? That's what I'm asking. Black Agenda Report, do better. Not. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's untouchable, man. The reaction to Harris' complete abdication of responsibility as a leader and dismissal of black voter concerns was extraordinary. However, no one needed Harris to tell them that the Republicans won't pass a new Voting Rights Act, which can withstand Supreme Court hostility. What people did need to hear was that she and her party want to restore the VRA and that doing so is a priority for them. Astrophage97, thank you so much for the mic drop. The Obama mic drop. That's what's up. I appreciate that. But it actually isn't a priority, and Kamala Harris is too incompetent to utter a fake promise or to speak with the vision of the future that would give people some hope. Again, I mean, incompetence. Yikes. Harris couldn't manage it because she is the epitome of the hollow person, made even emptier by the Democratic Party donor class, which is committed to doing as little as possible. Certainly, no fighting a good fight on behalf of their most loyal voters. But she happily engages in performance. In 2024, she made the obligatory pilgrimage across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama, the site of the Bloody Sunday attacks on marchers which took place on March 7, 1965. The movement was galvanized by the heroism of so many people, and the Voting Rights Act was passed later that year because of their actions. I mean, next thing you know, you're gonna call her a tip. No, I'm just like, it's like she wasn't there. It was passed by a mass movement of committed people who created a political crisis in defiance of the country's political leadership. There is no mass movement today, and the likes of Kamala Harris can therefore get away with uttering offensive foolishness. What can and should happen is that she should be declared unwelcome persona non grata on the Edmund Pettus Bridge or any other hallowed site of the liberation struggle. Should she try to show her face, the responsibility will be on the black people to send her packing or to turn their backs when she delivers nonsensical and insulting drivel. I mean, they're not going to. They're just not going to. Here's why. First of all, slim pickings, right? Just to be honest, there's not a lot of black women in politics. And if we're being blunt, Kamala Harris is attractive, conventionally attractive, right? I find her laugh a little too much to find her attractive myself, but that's just, you didn't ask. Nobody asked. Nobody asked me, all right? But yes, very conventionally attractive. So, and also was, Joe Biden has a lot of fucking cultural cachet because of Obama. I mean, the memes, or not even the memes, but just the lore behind the Obama-Biden friendship is just so preposterous with that fucking racist. But they exist and they're alive, and that's what's mainly remembered by liberals about, that presidency. She got a little bit of that rub. being his VP. Jeez, 73, huh? But she's never been like, she's never had the gift of gab or what have you. She was never like quick on her feet in terms of a comeback or a rebuttal or just tagging something to kind of recenter the focus and attention on her. And the real moment that she had about, you know, busing and how, you know, that little girl was me, she stepped over that shit. Condemning Kamala Harris is not difficult, but showing some spine when the black misleaders think they can get past Condemning Kamala Harris is not difficult, but showing some spine. No, fucked it up. Condemning Kamala Harris is not difficult, but showing some spine when the black misleadership think they can get a pass may be harder for many of the people who were at the very least disappointed in her remarks. She differs only from the other misleaders in her lack of political skills. Damn, wow. Like she's only recognizable, she's only like unique in how bad she is. Wow. Like she only fucking stands out because she's that goddamn awful. Wow. The Voting Rights Act or any other legislation of importance is touted when Democrats are out of office, but disappear when they get back into the White House and Congress, and the vicious cycle of cynicism and lies to voters, especially black voters, go on and on. In any case, the Democratic Party is fast losing legitimacy and is being challenged by its left wing. This dynamic is a positive one for many reasons, and if black voters are shrewd, they will seize the moment and kick all of the misleaders to the proverbial curb. That will be real talk, the realest and most meaningful of all. I think it's a solid piece, as always, as usual. It's just a little too, and maybe it's my cynicism, it's a little too hopeful that there's going to be any consequence, repercussion, accountability, even memory of this. Because, and please, in all sincerity, I know I've been joking around a lot, but in all sincerity, please, when we think, and I know it became like a meme, right? It became a meme when it was trying to take accountability away from the establishment. And I think the meme was something like, what was it? It was on Twitter for sure, but it's like the establishment, what people mean when they say the establishment. I don't want to spoil. Well, I found something. I found something that is interesting. But I want to find the meme. Somebody tweeted this out. Let's see if I can find it. Some of you probably already know what I'm talking about. But it's a photo. I'm not gonna find it, man. I'm gonna try Googling it. Maybe that helps. Yeah, I'll try that out. Nope. Ay, ay, ay. Peace, David. Peace. Really? I mean, maybe as a news thing, I can find that. It's something like, here's what they mean when they say the establishment. I'm not gonna find it, so let me just move on. It was basically somebody tweeting out saying like, this is what they mean when they say the establishment, and it was you know, a role of older black women, but I can't find it.
I'm trying to figure out who the establishment is, right? I think that when we talk about the establishment, I don't know who that is. I'm a kid that grew up in 53206 zip code. My parents was drug addicts and suffered from mental health. I worked extremely hard to be where I am today. And so when people try to call me the establishment, I look at that as a slur, particularly as an African-American candidate. And so I have never ran for office to protect the establishment. I've always been here to protect the people. That's my foundation. That's what I'm going to continue to do as a county executive and what I'm going to do as the governor of Wisconsin. I'm trying to figure out who the establishment is, right? I think that when we talk about...
Y'all know how I feel about the glasses. You know how I don't like it. It says a lot about you. I don't like it. It doesn't sit right with me. It ain't right. You know, just And so, yeah, I agree here. Damn, he went full Jay-Z. Capitalist is a slur. Exactly. Yeah. I'm not on Threads, so I'll take your word for it. Basically, the Black Dan version of Emma Vigeland saying, when you say white people, who are you talking about? Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you got to give him credit. That was pretty smooth, though. I wouldn't... To think up of that is pretty fucking impressive. All right. Should I grab a snack? What are we doing here? Let me see something here. Now we're going to have fun, all right? No, there was, I remember seeing a photo, somebody post something. We're going to have a little fun here with the DSA after this. I just wanted to make sure we talk DSA, then we talk establishment. Well, I'm sorry, I can't use that word anymore. But I definitely, damn. Let me do this here. Oh shit, no wonder it wasn't charging. That's our word. All right, Gio, my bad. Spenza, homie. All right, where are we here? Yeah, let's do this. Fuck it. We're gonna watch this. I only made it 47 minutes and 55 seconds before I like toss my headphones. So keep that in mind. We're gonna start from the start. We got like another hour or so, so we'll cover as much as we can. I appreciate y'all. Let me see how we're doing on the stream here. No, that was not chicken. There's a protein bar. I wish it was chicken. This is hilarious here. We got 127 people watching and we have 55 likes. Come on now. Let's get to 100 likes. We can knock it out real quick. It helps the channel, so keep that in mind. And also, help support the channel by subscribing, hitting the notification bell. If you want to know when I go live, that's going to be Wednesdays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. And then Fridays, we'll say like the afternoon. Yeah, we'll say afternoon, like 12. And that one's going to go for quite a bit. So, also, check out the Patreon. $2 gets you access to the Discord, where they have Saturdays, the unofficial book club. They're currently on Meditations on Fanon's Wretched of the Earth, as well as the Sunday article. What are we calling that? Read along. And if you want to make sure that nobody's skimming off the top, hit up the Cash App. Anything and everything is appreciated. Thank you so much. Let's get back to this here. Before we check this out, and just, I mean, look at this stare. Look at this stare. She's just so fucking over it, man. We got to watch this. We got to watch the setup. Have y'all seen this? Let me know.
I am tired of a set of people on the very far left in the Democratic Party, my party, telling us that in order for us to be progressives, we now have to believe ideas and support ideas that are completely nuts.
You got a set of defunding, decriminalizing, open borders. We have run that play and gotten our butts kicked. We don't need to do it a second time to see if it turns out, if the movie turns out any different.
Prominent Democrat voices pushing back on the growing influence of the Democratic Socialist candidates they say are ultimately going to hurt the Democrat Party. So let's talk about it with the national co-chair of the Democratic Socialists of America, Megan Romer. Megan, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Shannon.
Okay, so there's this growing conversation about whether you can exist within the party, whether you want to upend it for your own purposes, a totally different platform. The Daily Economy quotes you saying this at a DSA convention last year. We will win by making conditions so intolerable for the ruling class that they would rather give in to our demands than continue to live with the disturbance we cause until we are able to fully seize power ourselves. Is that aimed at the Democrat Party?
It's aimed from the working class to the ruling class. So the two-party duopoly, the two corporate parties, it is aimed at both of them, and it comes from the working class.
So should Van Jones...
Oh, y'all were hearing me chew? My bad. Y'all were hearing me chew? My bad, my bad. Spoiler alert. She is fucking awful. Like, her media awareness, savviness, call it whatever you want, is horrific. It's actually impressive what a prominent position within the DSA that she has, and is like negative in her media skills. Negative.
Jones and Rahm Emanuel and James Carville and all of the establishment Democrats be worried about DSA plans from within their tent?
The establishment Democrats should be worried about the voters and about what the voters think and about what the constituency thinks. And right now they have not been delivering, and our candidates are and have been, and it's resonating with voters.
So Jamie Harrison, who was the DNC chair, after you guys had such a big night in New York City and knocking off some of those incumbents and having success with your candidates in the congressional primaries, he said, if you hate the Democratic Party, then don't run for our nomination. Don't use our resources. Don't rely on our volunteers. Don't use our infrastructure. Focus on building the party you actually support. Other Democrats out there saying, this is a separate party, the DSA. You don't belong within the party. How do you respond to his statements there?
My bad, y'all. My apologies. Let's get to it. I think this is a great fucking question. It's Fox News, and I think this is a great question. And it's going to reveal two things. I haven't seen her answer yet. But it'll reveal two things. One, how they're all fucking talk. And two, that if you don't believe that they're all talk, then you have to acknowledge the fact that what they're advocating for, their fucking strategy, is entryism. It's that simple. Either they're weak as fuck and they don't have enough to take over the party. And so this is all for nothing. Or you support them, you think they can do it, and thus you're supporting entryism. And so you think that there is a potential for a working class revolutionary movement within the Democratic Party once you cleanse it, once you take over it. That's where we should be investing our time and resources according to the DSA.
Yeah, I mean, the two parties have, over years and decades, created a system where ballot line access is extremely difficult for third parties. I also have been told a lot of times by Democrats, don't vote third party, it's wasting your vote. So we run on the Democratic ballot line where it makes sense. We run independents sometimes where that is a viable possibility, but it's a ballot line. And what matters is what the voters think, and the voters are overwhelmingly choosing our candidates.
So if that's the case, why not also run Republicans? Why not run Green Party members? Why not run PSL? Well, because if you were to actually do that and win, you're going to upset the Democratic Party. And then you're going to see the reality, right? Then you would see the fact that, oh, you get booted the fuck out. They could ban the DSA. Anyone endorsed by DSA cannot run as a Democratic. Like, I'm sure they could do that. If they've already come out and said, hey, we could actually pick and choose who, the Democratic Party presidential nominee is. You don't think they could say we have a complete ban on DSA? If you get endorsed by them, if you organize with them, if you campaign with them, you're not allowed on the Democratic Party ballot? I mean, come on now. In Broad County, DSA, they're trying to run independents. That's great and all. Bernie Sanders is independent. Independence, honestly, Bernie has demonstrated and proven that all an independent is somebody that makes reactionaries comfortable enough, but at the end of the day is still devoted to the Democratic Party. Bernie Sanders would never run as a Republican, but he felt comfortable enough running as a Democrat. Bernie Sanders is not an actual independent. It's just like it's a meaningless title. It's fugazi. It's not real.
They certainly did in New York and in other places, Colorado.
I'm so sorry, but more importantly, an independent is not going to hurt or damage or threaten the Democratic Party in any way. That's what you have to remember. An independent politician will not pose a threat to the Democratic Party. Somebody that's a part of another party will pose a threat to the Democratic Party. That's the thing. That's the key difference.
Colorado and others, it's not just a big city phenomenon or just a blue coastal phenomenon. Okay, so we're going to put up on the screen a few of the things that are part of your platform, and I want to ask you, just give me sort of a true or false on these. Abolish the Senate.
Immediately when you're being asked by Fox News, give me true or false, yes or no, you should be smart enough to disengage. You should be smart enough to be like, well, I think that we should have a bigger conversation about these things. Well, this is all too quick. Allow me the moment. Hold on. Hold on. We're going to do this the right way.
A few of the things that are part of your platform, and I want to ask you, just give me sort of a true or false on these. Abolish the Senate.
Never mind. I was like, how are y'all going to hear the questions being asked if I make it to the solo? My bad, I got a little greedy there.
A few of the things that are part of your platform, and I want to ask you, just give me sort of a true or false on these. Abolish the Senate.
True.
Okay. Replace the presidency and Supreme Court as we now know them.
Yep.
Abolish ICE.
Absolutely.
Abolish borders and give amnesty to anyone currently in the U.S. illegally.
As a long-term plan, yep.
Defund the Pentagon.
Absolutely.
Abolish prisons, at least in large part.
Yeah, again, that as part of a long-term program, yeah.
Okay, so no prisons. Government or public ownership of most large corporations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so then let's go back through some of those then. Abolish the Senate. There are people who are in the Senate now who are very supportive of DSA. They lose their seats?
Again, the lack of media training. I do get annoyed with the glorification of independent candidates. I asked a local candidate, and they had a visceral reaction to the idea of a political party. I think it's just performative as fuck. I think you should be in a party. What makes you so fucking great on your own? I don't get it. But yes, exactly this. Just letting her empty the clip on her. Good Lord, exactly. Like, she is fucking giddy. She's like, oh my gosh, she played along. Offered no pushback. And so she's in complete control of this conversation here. And she thinks that she's just fucking killing it. Like, yeah, yes, of course. Yeah. Homie, why are you on Fox News, first of all? But if you want to make the argument, the most basic argument is, I'm on Fox News to show the Fox audience that may normally not know what the DSA is about a little bit more, give them a little bit more, provide them more context, put a face to the name DSA and let them know that we're just normal people out here organizing through the Democratic Party, apparently. Very, very simple. What you're failing to realize is they see you as the fucking devil. And because you're not offering any pushback and trying to wrestle control of the conversation, if this creature is happy and smiling, and in fact, there's one where she straight up smiles. Hold on. She's like amazed. She's like, holy shit. Like she's owning it. I think it's right here.
Of DSA, they lose their seats? At least in, and give amnesty to anyone currently in the U.S. illegally.
As a long-term plan, yep.
Defund the Pentagon.
Absolutely.
Abolish prisons, at least in large part.
Yeah, again, that, as part of a long-term program, yeah.
Okay, so no prisons. Government or public ownership of most large corporations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so then let's go back through some of those then. Abolish the Senate. There are people who are in the Senate now who are very supportive of DSA. They lose their seats?
It's right here. Tell me she's not giddy. Like she's like...
There are people who are in the Senate now who are very supportive of DSA.
Maybe I'm overthinking it.
They lose their seats? Well, the Senate is an anachronistic institution. It comes from the British House of Lords. It is made to protect power for, the Senate was part of the system that was made to make sure that the people didn't have too much of a say. So we want to expand Congress significantly, but make it a unicameral legislature.
Okay, and without the presidency and Supreme Court, so abolish ICE, would there be any enforcement of immigration laws, or with abolishing the border, we're not enforcing immigration laws, they go away?
Yeah, so again, this is part of this longer term plan, and part of it
but if you
includes,
can get there.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get to the place where the U.S. is not destabilizing countries in order to mine them for resources, there will be significantly less migration.
What do you say to those, though, that would potentially destabilize the U.S.? Because there's only so much the economy can bear, and when you have a flood of people coming in, it might not work out economically, according to a lot of analyses, if you just open up the borders and there's no enforcement at all.
Well, we're not saying open the borders tomorrow. We're saying rebuild an economy and a society that works for everyone. And the open borders is part of a longer-term international plan that involves us stopping destabilizing countries. Most people who are coming to this country are coming as economic refugees, and we destabilized their country. We did that.
Well, a lot of,
Okay, one thing with the open border stuff and why it's so frustrating is, like, if that's what you're advocating for, then just say that you're advocating for, like, no countries. That's the only way no borders works. If we're just one unified human species with, none of this nationalist, corruption available to us. That's all there is. Just say that part. Say, like, no. We're one big happy family and we should all roam freely. What's not true? You can have You can just have open borders even with countries. What is the fucking point? Is what I'm trying to get at. Like, obviously, you know, I'm not cursing at you. What is the point? For me, the idea of open borders or no borders is the fact that, hey, we're past this. Open borders benefit the economy by doing what? But what does that do to their home countries? What does that do? You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to be sincere here. What are we here?
If you look at data, the Center for Immigration Studies says right now the households here in the U.S. that are headed up by people who are here illegally, nearly 61% of them are on some type of government or welfare program here in the U.S. Can we afford to do that? I mean, at some point you run out of resources.
Well, right now we make it very difficult for people to participate in society in such a way that they can avoid using services. So we want people to be able to work and live and go to school and actually participate, which means contributing to society and also getting what they need from society. It's a collective choice we can all make.
So if we talk about abolishing prisons, then does that make society
getting what they need from society? It's a collective choice we can all make.
So if we
Bruh, why would you send her? Why would you send her? What are we doing here? God, man. I feel bad. I sincerely feel bad.
To society and also getting what they need from society. It's a collective choice we can all make.
So if we talk about abolishing prisons, then does that make society better? I mean, is there anybody that should be incarcerated? I mean, rapists, child predators, murderers?
Yeah, so the long-term plan, when we think about most people who are in prison, they're mostly in prison for crimes of poverty. So when
But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the really,
yeah, no,
like the
I hear
murderers
you.
and
So
rapists of the
when
world.
so when we get rid of this need for crimes of poverty to exist, when we get rid of that destabilizing
Fuck, I need a coffee or something. I hadn't seen this. At least with the other one, you have Brianna Joy Gray to like kind of balance things out a little bit. This is awful. It's just like all this shit, not good. It's not good. It's not good.
force that creates so many people who are living in desperate situations and doing desperate things, that brings those numbers down to very small numbers. And then we can collectively decide what we do with those people. I suspect it won't look like the prison system as we know it today.
Okay, but
It's not what she asked. It's not what she asked.
you do think some people need to be locked away from society?
Some people are not able to be functional members of society. That's true. But what does that look like to keep the rest of us safe? You know, we're talking about safety. We're not talking about punishment. We're talking about making sure that we're safe, everybody's safe, everybody maintains their dignity, and everybody maintains their humanity.
Okay, so much more to discuss. I hope that you will come back, especially as we figure out what the party does with respect to meeting the Democrats.
Oh, I don't know why I thought this was longer. Oh, there's like, hold on, chat. Am I being sensitive here? What's going on? Am I just being a hater? Was there a single good moment? Was there a single good moment of this? I didn't see it. But it's like, she's happy because she knows she's just got like clip after clip. She knows it's going to go viral, or that it did go viral. She knows that Trump is going to see and be happy. She's happy. And I don't want to be mean. Okay, honestly, I think she's just happy because she's on TV. You know what? Like, she's just happy because she's on TV. And I think she thinks she did a swell job. And in a lot of ways, sometimes that's all that matters, is that you think that you did enough. And that, you know, you're happy with your performance is But I would disagree. Can anyone, and sincerely, in the chat or in the comments, let me know what was a good moment for her in this. Mind you, please keep in mind a good moment for a Fox audience. No, she thinks she's cooking, but because white people are full of themselves, she's no different than Hassan and the rest of the pseudo-intellectual grifters of the online left. My issue is Fox News viewers, I imagine, are not going to take to take this positively because there wasn't enough white nationalism. I don't want to be mean. That concussion putting in work, it is putting in work. I don't think you're being a hater. I think you're cringing because you know that she's being set up and it's bad. But she should know better. I think she thinks that she got the upper hand in this.
Democrat Party, in your role in it and in 2028 especially. Megan Farmer, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure? Bro, you just like made her a fan fucking favorite. Look at this. Look at this. Woo-hoo. She's like, oh, hell yeah.
Party, in your...
She is so fucking happy. All right, let's get to this. Let's get to this. From the top, I think this is all pretty good. And we got time. We got time. No, I'm sorry. No, because I seen this. Somebody keeps saying, or I see multiple times, I don't know if it's the same individual.
Stop and think.
Saying like, oh, she came in there with good faith or whatnot. Oh shit, let me check on the dog. Hold on. I think you might need to go out. No, well, now I actually need to play something. I can't really joke around. Oh, you know what? Yeah, we'll do this. I mean, I've shown it before, but we'll do that. I'll be right back, yo. I'll be right back. We'll go videos. We'll go live, and I'll be right back.
Studios and could have been sitting right in there live, you know, for equally good video and audio and all of that kind of presentation. Again, you know, I don't know, you know, can't say that it wasn't offered and it wasn't a possibility, but I just was thinking about that as we were just sitting here a second ago, like, you know, it would have been great if we had an in-studio, version of this intellectual beatdown. But yeah, that was it.
Oh, I want to be honest as possible. I think Sam Cedar has demonstrated to be anti-black. I don't know about his debate with Brianna Joy Gray. It was over like the whole forced to vote.
I didn't see that either.
This was years ago. It was like a huge thing in the white online left where, hey, the squad should take advantage of this moment of choosing Nancy Pelosi as the House Speaker to guarantee some concessions, right? Predominantly to the concession of putting Medicare for All to a vote during a pandemic, right? And Sam Cedar and his crew were downplaying that and literally spreading lies about the fact that McCarthy could get elected as the Speaker of the House when it's literally impossible to do that for all intents and purposes while being the minority party. That being said, Brianna Joy Gray, for all my criticism of her, especially avoiding accountability from you, is well, to be clear about her. About her kind of like coddling the white quote unquote post duopoly populist wing, whatever they are. I think they're reactionaries regardless. But that being said, she schooled him, like whooped them left to right.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Demonstrating, I mean, she's not just intelligent, but so educated as well. And Sam Cedar, I always say he is the centrist Ben Shapiro, right?
I liked your line on that. Yeah. I like that.
They're both failed like Hollywood guys that were trying to be funny, man, and didn't do it. And so, let me cling on to politics. You know, I'm like, all right, cool. What have you done in politics for 20 years? What has Sam Cedar done other than make money? All right. So he, after the debate, he tweeted out saying like, oh, I was yelled at for you know, like an hour or whatever. And everybody's like, whoa, bro, like we got heated, but it's a debate. Like you wouldn't say this about any other debate that you had with a white man. Like I mean, that was a dog whistle towards the whole angry black woman stereotype. And Rihanna's Joy Gray never, you know, pulls that card. So she literally like called that out, just slightly apologizing, saying like, oh, maybe next time you should come better prepared. I'm sorry that you felt that way. And then he was forced to tweet out saying like, oh, you know, I realized I shouldn't have said I was yelled at. I should have said admonished, that I was admonished. And I'm like, oh, so you're telling me that you're upset that your dog whistle was a little too loud. Right? So you're apologizing for not being slick enough with your anti-blackness, not that you haven't, that you got caught, in other words. And I'm like, oh, it would be in a situation where this white liberal gets schooled by a black woman, that he's feeling a type of way, intellectually insecure, that he got schooled like that, and he rages out. That's when you really see that, you know, the racism at the heart of a white liberal. And so, I mean, Rihanna Joy Gray doesn't pull that card almost ever. But man, like, yeah, for me, and the fact that the only time he ever references like knowing black people, he goes back like to like the 90s about like a friend of coworker of his getting pulled over. And I'm like, wait, if you have to go that far back to talk about the time that you had a black friend, that's kind of weird. But also the fact that his show, as you mentioned, out in the East Coast, and he's had like this white cast this entire time.
Well, I mean, you know, I don't watch, very rarely do I watch a direct clip of their show, of his show. So I usually will see it, what they do in some sort of other, you know, somebody else either criticizing or, you know.
All right, we're back. Yeah, the Brianna Joy Gray debate was messy. Yeah, Sweeter Than Anything also back there. Awesome. Okay, let's get started with this nonsense here. We'll skip this.
You know, prosecute Israeli war criminals. You know, there are a lot of these big ticket items. Defund the police, I think, was in the list, that have been alternately sort of defended by the left and or had distance placed between them and various candidates as they are sort of confronted with the gauntlet of DSA agenda items. So first, I want to ask you what you make of how various either DSA candidates explicitly or left-aligned candidates like Abdul al-Sayed have responded as folks have tried to tie them to the DSA agenda items that you just went through.
Yeah, so this is all part of our new program. It's called Workers Deserve More, which is actually, it's a rewrite of our program that we released 2 years ago. And you know, we're socialists. Like, ask 10 socialists, get 20 opinions, right? And 19 of them are mine. So it's not actually surprising that people are like, yeah, I don't agree with this part or that part. I do think obviously the politicians are doing some real politic. That's what elections often do.
You know what? I just realized she's too zany. Is that the right word? Zany? Like just too much of a caricature. Ay. I think that's what it is. But again, how are you socialists? How are you socialists? You're democratic socialists. The people that you endorse or recommend aren't fucking socialists. You're running within the Democratic Party. You're not a fucking party. How are you socialists? Just make it make sense.
I hope that we can organize those folks into either being a little more ready to defend the platform, or, you know, if they're like not on the same page, like, let's see if we can get them there. Because if we can't get people who are already proudly identifying as democratic socialists on board with prison abolition, then yeah, that's another front of work to do.
So again, interchangeably using socialism with democratic socialists. Super fucking convenient.
Well, so this has been my crucible over the last basically 5 years since 2020 and since this podcast began, which is that my frustration isn't that I have, centrist Dems on or conservatives on who don't defend defund. It's that I'll have leftists on who, by and large, don't defend defund. And absent having someone like Alex Vitale or Alex Karakatsanis on, most progressives, whether they be explicitly socialist or DSA or whatever, find themselves making what they frame as like a political argument and a pragmatic argument and a populist argument against some of these policies that in very recent history were very popular. And there seems to be a disconnect between understanding that their unwillingness to explain and defend these policies bears a relationship to how much less popular they've become over the years, and also a failure to acknowledge the moral stance that is underpinning these policies, whether or not they think it's a politically advantageous course of action. So one of the main concerns that I have had as someone who used to be a card-carrying member of the DSA and who is obviously firmly on the left is whether or not having DSA-aligned candidates.
Okay, and I gotta ask. Is Brianna Joy firmly on the left? Firephonics, would you debate a DSA head? What is there to debate? It's just a disagreement. They think that they could successfully commit entryism into the Democratic Party. And I disagree. What is there to debate? You know what I mean? Like, for me, it's like, can they at least be honest about what they're doing? They're saving the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party should have died when it was endorsing, protecting, carrying out, arming a genocide against Palestinians. Anyone with a conscience should have abandoned the Democratic Party. Instead, what is happening now, what is happening today, is a revival of the Democratic Party for a younger generation. So my whole thing is like, what is the disagreement? What is the debate about? Whether or not entryism works? Is that what the debate is? And even that is not much of a debate or disagreement, because even if it were to work, what the fuck can you change and accomplish within the Democratic Party or within the U.S. System? Again, what would be the debate? As why they are hell-bent on entryism and what theory they read / actual praxis. I mean, that'd be more of a conversation than a debate, I guess. You know what I mean? And I think their answer, because Hassan has kind of spewed this, is like, this is the most practical and immediate thing that we can do for the working class. This is a way that we can show them material change quickly to try and encourage them to, become more radicalized. But really, it's reformists. They're reformists thinking that they're going to bring forth the revolution through reform. That they're going to inspire the revolution through reform and not, I don't know, more fucking reforms. So all I'm saying is, like, I don't know what the debate would be.
Publicly distance themselves from DSA positions is a problem for the left messaging. Are they doing the work of further sort of alienating the public from what I believe are fundamentally good and correct positions?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very open and kind of frequently brought up question in DSA. What are red lines? Where do we say, this is a hard stance versus where we're willing to work with you on this? I don't have like universal answers. A lot of where we've sort of landed is on this somewhat kind of horizontalist, like, okay, well, people are still absolutely allowed to, have their own. It will always be an organization where everybody's allowed to have their own opinions. How much you have to defend the platform or a set of opinions as somebody who is running for office is more of an open question. And I definitely think that I think we're in a short video era. And I think there is a lot of fear of being clipped. And you see why, right? Like, I did that Fox interview and she was like, let's do yes or no. And like read to me from our website. And I was like, yes, it says that on our website. That's why I'm saying yes. Like, literally, yes.
Yes, but also it doesn't just say it on the website. It's an organization that,
totally.
To your point, decided that this was a platform that they agree with.
I mean, don't. It's so sad. This is so sad. Don't make it seem like, oh, like she said yes or no. What was I supposed to do? You do realize that you're not a hostage, right? You do realize that you have like the ability to continue speaking beyond the words yes or no. I think this is just like weird, like you're trying to compensate for getting played. And you were okay with it because you were on screen. Major Laser, thank you so much for the gold coin. Appreciate you. Second story is, how is she not Kamala but white? True.
Yes, and it was a broad cross tendency within the organization, which is famously multi-tendency.
But to be clear, I mean, do you agree? I mean, I would say I agreed with everything. I mean, I don't remember off the top of my head every single thing that was brought up in that clip, but I don't recall having any points of disagreement.
Totally.
So I do think that. So do you also agree? Can we say that first and foremost?
On everything on that platform, no question.
Okay, because I do. I'm not putting this.
And maybe even more on some of the points, right? Like, so this is my
no question. This is my concern. I think that there's like this weird hesitancy that even you and I are exemplifying in our conversation right now, where we hop to, well, yeah, like the whole org voted on this. It's not just me. Well, that's what the org says, but the candidates can make their own decisions. That to me, it tacitly is again doing the thing of putting distance between, like it seems like a criticism of the platform. And my concern is that, like, to your point about abolishing the Senate, hell yeah, like what was like Dick Durbin or somebody who was like whose whole thing was abolishing the Senate. This isn't some left-wing fringe plan. There was a time, not too distant memory, where you had mainstream Democrats in like the quote unquote woke era talking about how the Senate was a strategy to coalesce power among landowning elites and the very few, and to be anti-populist, and talking about all the different ways our government has been structured to diminish the power of non-landholders and Black people and enslaved people and all these kinds of things. And now all of a sudden, we're going to let not just like Fox News, but Dems bully us out of saying a pretty normal thing like the Senate is anti-populist? The Senate is anti-democratic?
Yeah, I mean, it is and always has been.
I'm sorry, was that her response? Am I tripping out? Was that her response? I don't think it was. I could have sworn that was not a response about abolishing the Senate. Let's see. We just played it.
I am tired.
Let me see if I can find this part here. The Senate. There we go.
Well, the Senate is an anachronistic institution. It comes from.
Oh. Anachronistic. Characterized by or involving, okay, chronologically out of place. A person or thing that is chronologically out of place, so just out of time. Okay. God damn. This shit's worse, and we just watched it, and it's so much worse. Why would you use this? And look, I'll say, I don't know what the fucking word meant. I've probably heard it, and the context clues might help, but like, I didn't know. And I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed, don't get me wrong. But do you think the Fox audience, I mean, maybe it's an older word, right? Maybe this word was more popular back in the day. I don't think so, though.
The Senate is an anachronistic institution. It comes from the British House of Lords. It
Why are you talking about the British House of Lords? Why? Why are you doing this? Oh man, it just feels like just the type of student that raises their hand every single time to show the teacher how smart they are.
It is made to protect power for, you know, the Senate was part of the
And why she's like, hey, it's part of the, you know what, you know what's part of. Why? We just watched this and it's pissing me off all over again. Why?
the system that was made to make sure that the people didn't have too much of a say. So we want to expand Congress significantly, but make it a unicameral legislature.
Okay, and without the president.
Again, does she have a single solid moment? This is not what happened.
The Senate is anti-democratic?
Yeah, I mean, it is and always has been. I mean, if you look at
normal thing, like the set and anti-apology, like people being friends, like it that me talk to government has been saying Democrat.
Excuse me, even like the Federalist Papers, James Madison argues in Federalist 10, like they're trying to sell the Constitution. They're trying to sell it to people who don't want democracy. And they're like, don't worry, it's not too much democracy. We've got all these checks and balances where these rich landowners will be able to stop the people from doing them. And then even Republicans constantly.
I mean, what she claimed to say here, it's anti-democratic. Say that.
The Congress never gets anything done. Well, yeah, because they have this like sclerotic institution that just says no to everything, and has no real purpose other than to entrench bad ideas. So yes, I don't think we should run from it. But also, you know, we're not an organization that requires sort of a democratic centralist line. It is a different kind of organization than like a truly kind of partyist organization where it's like, this is the thing we believe. I think we're moving more toward that partyist model, but we're not there yet for sure.
Okay, so this is sort of getting to the meat and potatoes of why I wanted to talk to you, because my feelings are that the DSA could benefit from a little democratic centralism. And so I'm curious to hear you say that you feel like the DSA is moving in that direction. But first, maybe it's worthwhile for me to say why I feel like the DSA could benefit from a little democratic centralism. And that is because I do worry about a tendency that I observe sometimes, and feel free to push back and if you disagree with this characterization, where because of the
Okay, and keep in mind, when people say, I think this will benefit the DSA, what they're saying is, I think it'll benefit the Democratic Party. We were talking about the Black Caucus earlier. When we talk about the Black Caucus, even as, you know, they have some Republicans, you know, in your mind, you immediately think of the Democratic Party. And so what I'm saying is, can we just, I don't know, like, I would call them the Democratic Party's DSA. Would that be too much? Would that be too large of a request? The Democratic Party's DSA. Just to remind people that it's not a party and that all the fucking work that they're doing is for the benefit of the Democratic Party. Come on now.
Success of starting with AOC and then followed by other squad members and obviously this new round of electeds, of DSA affiliated elected officials. And because of what that does for membership to DSA, I also joined after AOC won in 2018. And what that does for sort of the national profile of the DSA, that there is a tendency to sort of let the tail of the candidate wag the dog of the organization instead of the other way around. And when there are these moments that demand accountability, like if you're gonna have the imprimatur of the DSA on you, if you're gonna be an avatar of the DSA brand, then you can't be voting for the Iron Dome. You can't be distancing yourself from socialism. You maybe should have a better response when someone asks you what you think of like all the communism accusations that aren't throwing various ideologies under the bus. Maybe if you're Abdul al-Sayed, you know, he's maybe a bad example because he's not actually DSA, but the, you know, I'm not a socialist stuff starts to get a little tiresome. Maybe there needs to be more transparency or more explanation about, you know, Zohran Mamdani walking back some of his defund comments and keeping Tish on board. You know, how does accountability work if there isn't a responsibility to have certain ideological commitments to be considered a member of the organization? And if there is no
There should be, like, Zohran should be forced to answer why he kept Tish on every single day of his administration. Every single fucking day.
ever, if there was rarely, if ever, a real threat to expel someone from the organization. I know that I think New York DSA did they actually kick Jamal Bowman out, or was that just a vote on that?
I think it was just a vote. I believe they endorsed Bowman on his last run, and I don't think he's
okay.
2 years ago. Time means nothing to me anymore. I'm like, that was 2 years ago or 8 years ago. I don't know.
God, I fucking hate her. Oh my God, bro. Can we stop with this fucking COVID ass fucking time just ruined after COVID? I just don't know time. And this is from somebody who's chronically late. This is from somebody who forgot it was fucking Thursday today. Did you hear me go, oh fuck, after COVID, like what is time? One space. Do you ever just stop and think how we're just like a ball of dirt in an ever-growing and expanding universe? Like, whoa, and we have to pay taxes? Oh, God damn, bro. I hate that shit. All right. I mean, look, she's doing the face, man.
I think it was just a vote. I believe they endorsed Bowman on his last run, and I don't think he's
Okay.
2 years ago. Time means nothing to me anymore. I'm like, that was 2 years ago or 8 years ago. I don't know.
Absolutely, totally. I'm still rounding everything down to like the year 2000. I actually had a sweater made for a friend once that was supposed to have the date his dog was born.
And you know, just credit to Bree. Just a golf clap. Just a golf clap. Just yeah, you know Bree knows how to make white people feel comfortable around her. It's just totally fucking disarming. No. Look. It is so fucking obnoxious that people still think or feel like they're making like a point or a joke, or it's worth commenting about time. It's like it's an elevator fucking level. I don't know, like just water cooler. It's a water cooler comment. That's what it is. You're forcing me to work at an office space. I walk up to the water cooler, and this is what you're doing to me. Gospel Pillar, thank you so much for the gifted tulips, 500 joules. Thank you so much. And the Uncler, thank you for that as well on the Deculturation live chat. The Toa says, I've asked some rattlers why Zoran keeps Tish. They mostly say because the NYPD would murder him. Okay, Norman. It's small talk when you're like, it's not necessary. You're distracting right now. Stop it. Just stop. IDK, what the fuck those are? They said they were free. So no, actually they take it directly from your bank. When you put that, it goes, it gets your routing number. And I don't know. I honestly don't know what those are, but I appreciate it. Ah, fuck off. I'm just thinking about the state of the world, man. You're on a political show, having a political conversation about your political appearance on fucking Fox News. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear that shit. Can we talk about political state of the... Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
On it, and I just put 2000 instead of 2020 because that's how my brain's working. Like established 2020. Anyway,
totally.
But you get the point that I'm asking, right? Like, how do you have accountability if there's no ideological accountability within the organization? How do you censor or reprimand candidates who are not in step with the values of the organization if members of the organization aren't required to subscribe to any broad centralized values?
Yeah, I mean, this is again, like this very open question that we talk about a lot. I think a lot about sort of this idea of discipline, and I think the way we talk about discipline often is as something we do. How are we disciplining people rather than as something we have? Like, I have discipline to DSA. I'm going to say nice things about DSA. That is my job. I'm going to, I'm a DSA booster. I'm a DSA. That's what I do. It's what members voted for me to do. It's what I'm going to do. I would like our external electeds, not just our internal electeds, to also land there and to have that, like, hey, my comrades voted for this thing. They voted across tendencies to build this program together. And I think we're building toward it. We passed at our last convention, which was last summer, a resolution that said you can't vote for weapons for Israel ever, any. You have to be pro-Palestinian liberation. This is a red line. I think we have some tacit red lines. Like, I don't think it says anywhere in any resolution, like, we are fully pro-abortion services. Everybody should be able to have the full reproductive rights they want. It doesn't say that anywhere, and everybody agrees on it. So how do we kind of merge that idea of, like, there are these things that seem very obvious, and there are things that maybe don't, and how do we get it down in such a way that it's like, okay, these are our lines. And yeah, I don't think we've figured that out perfectly yet. And it's a constant, and will be a sort of constant thing, I think, to figure out where those lines are as time goes on and new terrible things happen in the world. And yeah, the elected bloc, most people do come in because they hear about DSA from elections. And like you, I think I joined like right.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. Gosh, I fucking hate her. Oh, okay. I'm trying to focus. It's just there's no like constraint to these answers. They're like half rambles, and I never do that. No, the fact that the DSA is claiming to be, this essentially a vanguard movement, and that they don't have red lines. They don't have things that, like, hey, if you want a DSA endorsement, you have to abide by these things. You have to support these things. And they're going to get into the whole recommendation bullshit, which is absolute nonsense. You should be pushing and having a DSA person, fuck this recommendation shit. Put somebody out there, even if they don't have any chance to win, put somebody out there. If you were a party, you should be doing this. That is just gonna get your name out there. That's gonna, get some attention. Gonna push some buttons, something to say, hey, we're fucking here. Carlos just might be autistic bingo board. I hate small talk. I'm roll B5, just a couple more spaces to fill in. You know what? I allowed y'all to diagnose me ADHD. I will say I don't think I'm autistic. Although, there was a funny moment with the blanket where I'll flip it over, like, not to the warm side of the blanket, but to the soft part of the blanket. And there was this blanket that I got gifted that was so comfortable that I physically could not get out of bed. Like, it was so bad that I had to put it, like, away in the garage. Because I was like, I literally cannot own this blanket and have a job. Like, I will just stay in bed all day, like, curl the fuck up, like, just straight up hibernating. So yeah, I don't know.
Right before AOC won, but it was because of Bernie and just the movement and like what I saw happening. And I joined, and I was a liberal. Like, I by any definition, I was just a liberal who was like a left lib, like a Jon Stewart lib. And I had to organize.
Well, everybody was, and
yeah,
not everybody. I shouldn't say that. I know some of you in the audience were like much downer and more radical and better than I and Megan.
We are so proud of them.
Many of us were. Yes, God bless you guys for having patience with us.
We love it.
Right, but many of us were Jon Stewart libs in the before times, in the pre-2016 times. So no fault there. But like, here's what I'm trying to drill down on a little bit. Well, first, before I get to this, you mentioned earlier that you believe that the organization seems to be moving toward the direction of democratic centralism. What do you mean by that? What's going on internally?
Yeah, I mean, I see it not so much as, I think democratic centralism is one of those kind of like scary words people hear and they're like, oh, like Stalin, and you're like, okay, all right. It actually means something and it has this greater historical context, and it just means.
Can you unpack it? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it means we make a decision democratically and then we do the thing. Like, that's all it means. It just means like we decided to all do this campaign and we're all showing up for the campaign. I voted no on endorsing XYZ and I'm still gonna show up and knock some doors. That's all it means. It's not like I think I don't. People have developed these boogeymen around their everything on the left. So
wait, did they admit to being a liberal like that, or did they admit that they used to be like a liberal? Yes, like Stalin.
Figuring out what that discipline to the organization, and the idea of like, I have discipline to the organization, not the organization is going to discipline me. The organization is not going to show up and slap my wrist. That's silly. but I think by drawing some lines and by saying like, this is really what we believe in, it's not negotiable. I think we did that for the first time with the Palestine resolution at last summer's convention. I think we will probably continue to see that, but maybe not. You know, it's a democratic organization. People could outvote me, and that is a thing that could happen.
Well, this is one of the, I think, scary questions where, you know, might it be the case that because of the rapid growth in DSA, because of the high visibility of the elected bloc, you end up getting a flood of members who frankly still are Jon Stewart Dems. And if you do have these votes, then they actually bring the organization really far from its center in a way that is technically democratic, but which sort of defeats the purpose of the organization. So there's this, you know, there was this recent dust up, and I would love to hear more from someone who was closer to the action as to what really happened here. But my understanding is that there was a bit of a dust up about whether or not the DSA should have a vote on sort of pre-endorsing AOC for president in 2028. And that the implication was if this vote went forward, the vote would go for AOC, even though we're 2 years out and there hasn't really been any discussion or vetting process about who an alternative independent left candidate could be, et cetera, et cetera. And that, so there's this interesting debate that says, okay, not letting the vote happen was anti-democratic, but weirdly, like the politically left position or the ideologically left position is to have to prevent the quote unquote democratic vote. The core problem there, though, seems to be, did the organization grow too fast with people that weren't required to have any sort of ideological grounding prior to?
I'm sorry. Hold on. That's the whole fucking point of the DSA. The whole point of the DSA that it's super convenient. Hey, do you like this? Hey, do you think this sounds cool? Awesome, come join us. That's all. That's literally it. That's it. Or correct me if I'm wrong. Is there a fucking program for the DSA? Are there any requirements, any demands on the DSA whatsoever? Or can you just be a due-paying fucking member and you're in the DSA? I'm asking. And as for Jon Stewart, it's like, bro, that fucking Zionist, he's interviewing fucking John Fetterman. I don't know if y'all wanted to watch that. That shit, I don't get anything out of it. A liberal Zionist arguing with the fucking weirdo, like, half-brained Zionist supporter? I don't even know.
To organizing because the goal was just getting bigger as opposed to getting bigger for the purpose of pursuing a specific ideological avenue.
Yeah. So to be clear, so I can explain a little bit about that. It was a poll. It's a non-binding member poll, which I you know, just speaking for myself and where my vote landed, I'm not confused about, like, I want to hear what people like think. I don't want to hear checkbox yes, no. I want to hear what people think. And so I'm pushing.
Hold the fuck on. So why isn't it that you told us what you were thinking instead of saying fucking yes, no on Fox fucking News, bro? The one place where you shouldn't be saying yes, no, yes, no. Man. But it is astonishing, and no one should take an organization within the Democratic Party seriously that in like years in advance are swearing their fucking loyalty to any politician as the presidential nominee. That is like the opposite of politicking. What are we? I mean, that's and it's AOC who had a weird ass fucking relationship with the national DSA because of her fucking Zionist support. I think the local DSA couldn't fucking like be critical of her like that.
This idea of these discussions happening at the chapter level, at chapters themselves. Like, our organizing happens in chapters. It happens on the ground in the chapter. And I'm not confused about people liking AOC. Like, obviously very popular in DSA, popular outside of DSA. What I want to know is, like, are chapters in Pennsylvania ready to do a primary campaign? Are chapters in South Carolina now? That's the first primary. Are they ready to like throw down for a primary? Like, that's the actual information I need. A poll is kind of just, it's email whipless, basically, and it isn't giving me the information that we need as national leaders to make these decisions. And I do think we need to have broader discussions. I think defaulting to AOC even if we land on AOC, I think it's good to explore other options because it helps you assess what you actually want and what you're actually looking for out of a candidate. And it's good to say, okay, what about like some labor leaders? What would they bring that's different to the table? And therefore, how can we, if we do nominate AOC, how can we make her kind of be in that lane that we were thinking about with the labor leader or with the social movement leader or something like that? So I just want the discussion to be more nuanced. And I think that's the direction it's going in. And a poll would be just another piece of information, which is fine. It's just, I think people think that we took away their vote. Like, members were not going to get to vote on this. That is what elected leadership. We have this representative system. The question is whether we do it at convention or whether the National Political Committee does it, which that is an open question. But yeah, it's not a challenge of whipless. It's a challenge of having the conversation.
So to be clear, you feel like it would have been beneficial to have the poll to have a better sense of enthusiasm on the ground as you go forward to making decisions about ultimate endorsements, or do you think it was a good idea to not have the poll because it felt premature, given that there hasn't been a sort of an articulation of what the options really are at this point?
So I voted against the poll, but the poll wouldn't have happened until next spring anyway, probably. I felt like the information that I wanted would be subsumed by the poll, and it would just all be this talk about like, well, 70%, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, but I want the information.
Okay. Yeah, but I agree. Like, I found myself taking the quote unquote anti-democratic position of the poll is a bad idea because it's very easy to see how that poll get weaponized to, kill any conversation about alternatives. Even frankly, alternatives that aren't, especially, progressive in my heart and my dreams, like Ro Khanna,
sure.
It felt very odd to prematurely, I with critiques of both, have trouble distinguishing what kind of candidates both AOC and Ro Khanna would even be. And I have some arguments about how Ro Khanna would be a more effective candidate, frankly, a more likely to succeed candidate, saying nothing about their underlying politics. And I even had questions about how we ended up getting to the point of AOC so quickly.
Hold on, Hirotsu, where is this article you're talking about? Did you drop it in the Discord? It would have been nice to be tagged in that. I'm guessing articles? No, it's not there. Join the Discord, everyone. $2 gets you access to a Discord. How's that for a pitch? Because I don't think you could share articles or links in the chat. Johnny says, it may be controversial to say, in my opinion, abolishing prison is the first world thing. I never heard about leftists supporting that in global South countries. I don't make me get in a fight about abolishing prisons again. Man. I want motherfuckers locked up. But I guess the big difference is the formation of the style of incarceration and obviously the working class controlling it. Boring. No. Okay, let me see here. Oh yeah, no, the Discord is where conversations are had for sure. We were able to talk a little bit more about Einstein and his Zionism. I don't know what the fuck that is. What is this? Meet the millennial duo behind the Democratic Socialists of America's burgeoning, yeah. Socialists of America's burgeoning power grab. Let's skip to this over here. No, we'll read it, whatever. The Democratic Socialists of America, led by two millennials with a vision of an empowered working class and an end to capitalism in the U.S., has grown into one of the most powerful grassroots forces in the Democratic Party. Megan Romer and Ashik Sadiq, the DSA national co-chairs, came to socialism as part of a generational wave of young left-wing activists frustrated with the Democratic Party they see as dominated by big money donors and drifting away from working class struggles. I mean, yeah, that's the concern and fear of all fucking socialists, right? Yeah. They're like, oh no, not my fucking Democratic Party. For Ms. Romer, 43, the movement is about seizing power from the corporate and political elite she calls bosses. Oh, she coined that. Oh, shit. Power only cedes itself to a greater degree of power, she said. Write that shit down, chat. At the DSA convention last year, according to a report by the Daily Economy. We win by making conditions so intolerable for the ruling class that they would rather give in to our... Oh my god! Damn, bro. Why? Oh yeah, we're gonna make him uncomfy. Oh. They won't be able to sleep because we're gonna put peas at the bottom of their fucking silk sheet covered fucking human skinned fucking mattresses. I don't know what to tell you. Everyone, tomatoes Sasarutsu for making me read this. We win by making conditions so intolerable for the ruling class that they would rather give in to our demands than continue to live with the disturbance we cause until we are able to fully seize power ourselves. Oh my gosh, what is this? Yeah. Wow. From trailer park to socialist leader. The left-wing political consultant, who spent much of her career in the nonprofit arts industry, shocking, I mean, those fucking glasses said it all, promoting folk music, Ms. Romer describes herself online as a socialist with pescatarian characteristics. So she really likes fish. So what? She has talked about growing up very poor in a trailer park. In rural upstate New York, the daughter of a paramedic and nursing aide who could not afford groceries despite what she called working in life-saving jobs. That is fucked up. To be honest, that's fucked up. She emphasizes her public school education and brief stint at community college as proof that she did not need academic credentials to build political power. You just had to be white. In her 30s, she followed politics through Jon Stewart. Oh, fucking shit, bro. I didn't even watch... I was in high school and I wasn't even watching Jon Stewart. Because I didn't think it was funny even then. I was watching the Colbert Report because I was like, oh, wow, he's doing something different, man. You don't get it. He's playing a character. She was once enthusiastic about Hillary Clinton, the idea of a woman in the White House, but after 2 church trips to Cuba and clashes with local Democratic Women's Club after President Trump's 2016 win, she walked into a DSA meeting in Louisiana and never left the movement. She never left the fucking Democratic Party either. She never left the fucking Democratic Party either. What are you bragging about? You're still voting in the same fucking party of all these fucking people that are bashing Cuba, your clashes with the Democratic Women's Club. You're still with them. You just added like an extra layer to be a fucking snob, to think that you're fucking better than them. In the DSA, members call one another oh my god. Fucking shit, bro. Dude, go back to the early streams. And I put a stop to that shit immediately. I'm like, do not call me your comrade. I will not call you. I'm not your comrade. All right? Unless we've organized together in real fucking life or done some real organizing online to like a good extent, don't call me your fucking comrade. All right? They're taking everything. Yeah, at what cost? Fuck, man. In the DSA, members call one another comrade and rally around platforms that call for free migration across borders and abolishing prisons, electoral college, and the U.S. Senate. Socialists would replace the presidency with something closer to a prime ministerial system. We don't think that's extreme, Mr. Sadiq said on C-SPAN this week. We went, oh, he goes to C-SPAN while Homegirl gets Fox News? I wonder why. All right. Are we done with this? Yeah, we're done with this. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear about your blank. Sorry, that was not, that was just a hard, sorry, that was not, hold on. Sorry, I don't want to hear about your Bangladeshi immigrant story, pal. All right? We're here prioritizing, at deculturation, we prioritize centering whiteness at all times.
Without even vetting some of the more mainstream dim options like Roe. So I tend to agree with you. But here's the other piece that comes up when I hear you talking about, what is the appetite of DSAers on the ground across the country, and what is how much support could one of these candidates end up getting, is this question of how, what is DSA's approach to also supporting people who are not running within the Democratic Party and endorsing third-party candidates, and generally speaking, how this endorsement process is panning out. Because there does seem to be, at the same time, that there's a sort of, loud silence about a candidate like Shama Sawant, who is running against Adam Smith, who is one of the most outspoken and powerful Zionists in Congress, who stands to be the head of the Armed Services Committee if Democrats regain power in the House, who is being challenged by one of the only socialist city council members ever to be elected in like 100 years, and who has won 4 elections in Seattle, and who won the minimum wage 5 for 15 locally and put it on the map for the entire country. And Seattle now has the highest minimum wage in the country, and all of these really hardcore, socialist accomplishments. For there to be a non-endorsement there, but then and I understand there's different DSA locals and et cetera, but then for there to be this endorsement of someone like Tom Steyer, a literal billionaire, right, and a Zionist, and someone who was against Bernie Sanders' data center moratorium for governor of California. And from the outside, some of this decision-making feels really opaque and confusing, and is part of what leads me to want more democratic centralism in the organization.
Yeah, I get that. And
who gives a shit if they have democratic centralism in the organization? They're still under the fucking Democratic Party. Why are we spending so much time on how essentially a PR, that's all they're doing. Fucking PR rebranding the Democratic Party, whether or not they have centralism.
And it is very, we are heavily decentralized, right? Most of the decisions are being made in the chapters. We do not endorse anybody at the national level unless a chapter has endorsed and then asked national for an endorsement. What endorsement means, I think we sometimes in DSA have this very we know what endorsement means. We know that it doesn't just mean your name on a piece of paper. We know it means we're going to knock doors for you. We know it means we're going to throw down for you. But when we say, when somebody kind of a chapter maybe says, but we recommend, it's like, that doesn't mean anything to anybody else. I think we sometimes are lost in our own sauce a little bit. I'm like, yes, I see that as a very clear difference. That's everybody else is normal and not a DSA sicko and isn't going to see that major distinction.
Oh man, a DSA sicko. Who said earlier that she had Redditor energy? Because wow, were you correct? Oh.
So the question of Shama, she has been a DSA endorsee before. I do not believe, though I'm not positive, but I don't believe she asked the Seattle chapter for an endorsement this time around. We don't I don't think we ever endorse in the sense of the DSA endorsement, where that means we're going to show up for you and knock doors and all that stuff. Anyone who hasn't asked for it, other than famously Bernie Sanders.
Other than famously a lifelong Zionist.
Who didn't ask for DSA's endorsement, and we showed up twice for him. So it is a funny thing. How does it? Yeah. But I believe Shama has not asked for Seattle DSA's endorsement, and I haven't heard any more.
Look at Bree being fucking messy. Look at that shit. Fuck yeah. She's like, oh, really now? Oh, all right. Let's find out.
Than that.
Okay, I will try to get some clarification on that. I was under the impression that there was a request, but I'll see if I can get some clarification on that before the end of this episode. Yeah, but let me ask you in the interim about the Tom Steyer of it all.
Yeah, yeah, and so that's going to be.
Why is that funny to you? Yeah, we endorse a Zionist fucking billionaire. Yeah, that's fucking crazy, huh?
That is another one of these hot topics in DSA. Should we do voter guides? And voter guides, in essence, where we are trying to differentiate between this endorsement and this recommendation. I tend to fall on the, if you want to make an internal guide, I don't know that external guides are necessarily very useful, but a lot of our chapters do them. And I'm certainly not in favor of banning them. I don't know. It's people engage with politics via electoralism. So chapters see that as a way to get people thinking about politics. I don't know about them. I definitely don't know about Thomas Steyer's the choice, but that, I'm not in California DSA. I'm not in one of the local chapters. And I'm not going to tell them they can't do anything, but I will continue to organize at the national level to make sure we have, when we say endorsement, we mean endorsement, and reminding people that recommendation means nothing different.
Why can't national, and why should it national have bearing on what DSA California does when it so obviously reflects on the reputation of the national organization? And even if you can't, even if there's no structural mechanism to control their decision to do that endorsement, to put out a counter endorsement or say, this is not the recommendation of DSA National, make it clear on the record that, yeah, we don't think it's a good idea, actually, after spending most of our, tenure in the national eye supporting Bernie Sanders, who famously returned billionaire donations, even from like the one sort of lefty Disney billionaire who donated to him, that we're now going to go all in on a candidate who is himself a billionaire, self-funding a campaign and drowning the airways out in a way that only he can do because of his billionaire money, especially when he has politics that are very untrustworthy. When he was someone who was arguing against Medicare for all during the last presidential election, and now we're all supposed to believe that he's just had this change of heart and that this isn't about him creating a off-ramp for the left.
Look, DSA had to recommend him because Hassan Piker had him over. I'm sorry, the bylaws in DSA say that if you visit Hassan Piker's mansion, multi-million-dollar mansion, you get, at the very least, as you leave, multiple levels, 7th floor, you go down, you get handed a DSA recommendation, and it's up to you when or how you use it, really. I mean, you could use it, like, let's say, to cut the line at like Chipotle, and you just show them to them, and they'll take it. Reluctantly, they'll take it. Everyone else is gonna get upset that you're cutting the line, but you just flash it, and everyone's gonna understand, like, oh, you've been to Hassan's. All right, cool. But the thing is, like, how you go to recommend and co-sign a fucking billionaire that, yes, was against Medicare for all, that is a fucking Zionist, and that is wishy-washy in his politics, like, there's no fucking excuse for that whatsoever.
When there is, in this sort of jungle primary system, a genuine left socialist candidate in Butch Ware, who at one point was polling 5% when the mainstream Dems were each polling at 10% and had a real avenue to success, perhaps if he had been recognized and validated by the left political and media ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, I will not pretend that I'm like deeply in touch with California politics, especially in that race. I found it kind of baffling. More generally, I actually lived in Louisiana for a really long time, which has a jungle primary, but
I'm sorry, who gives a fuck about Louisiana? It's about California and New York. The rest of the country is like kind of in the way. But in all seriousness, stop fucking pretending that you did not have your eye on California. Please, it's nonsense, man. It's all right, fine. We'll pretend.
I'm still confused about jungle primary systems. They're very confusing to me, and I think they do serve to kind of quash the left. But in practice, if not in theory. So yeah, it's I don't know. Like I think that we are not there yet. I think if we were starting to impose hey, you can't do this stuff for something that is, the argument, of course, is that it's a voter guide. It's not an endorsement. Nobody knocks doors. It's just a recommendation. It is not a recommendation I agree with, but I do think that the chapter and the statewide org has some amount of autonomy, certainly within our rules as they exist. I would like to build toward DSA where we're a little tighter on stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think that I'm just not sure that sort of smacking them down from the national level when their members voted to do it. Like, yeah, they voted to make that voter guide and they voted to release it, and they're allowed to do that.
So in contrast, I did just hear back.
Again, I mean, it'll get a little better right now, but it's just like, how are you the national and claiming you have like no, we can't do anything. We can't say anything. We just can't. That's preposterous, man. What the fuck is the point of having a national fucking DSA? Then what the fuck do you do?
From Shama, and she says that the Seattle DSA declined to have even yes, she asked for an endorsement. The campaign asked for an endorsement, and that the Seattle DSA refused to hold an endorsement vote and instead held a vote on a resolution that Sharma's campaign had brought forward to have a vote on the endorsement. In other words, a vote on whether or not to have an endorsement vote. And I don't want to end up just reading her text messages, but the point is that yes, that they asked and the DSA Seattle declined. And so again, this isn't a situation where there is, an alternate sort of tradition.
So again, she's going to say, I don't know about like 20 times once again, but focus on the fact that like, and I've been critical of Sharma, but she's been flirting with the idea of third parties in one way or another. And that's the reason why the DSA cannot fucking endorse her. That's why. She might get a little too much steam. And so they had to just keep her away.
Traditional DSA candidate in the mix. It's just, Netanyahu's bestie, Adam Smith, and a principled socialist who actually has a chance of winning and who has been very successful in the state before. And it does feel like the non-endorsement reflects a sort of cliquishness where it feels like it's about promoting. This is just the perception, and I have you here because I want you to, push back against it, contextualize it, or agree with it, or say I would want that to change, whatever your response is. But the perception is, and I think where some of the frustration has come from, is that it's increasingly feeling like some of the decisions are about advancing a brand of the DSA as opposed to, again, this underlying ideology that we're all supposed to share as socialists.
Yeah,
I mean, the premise that we're all supposed to share as socialists, bro, like bully these fucking people. Don't do that. But you know what I mean? Like, just stop. I mean, it's like, I'll give you an example. We'll go back to high school, so make a little bit, there can be some space and time. I guess high schools do this where, like, for Halloween, you get to dress up, right? Mind you, you're at school all day. Why the fuck? Why would anyone want to walk around? I mean, I'm hoping I don't remember if I ever did dress up for that, but for me, it was just kind of like, that sounds exhausting. But anywho, there was a group of guys that weren't even in the fucking wrestling team. They weren't even in the wrestling team, and they dressed up like the fucking Gracies and did the Gracie walkout during lunch. Let me see if I can find it for you. Let's see. I'll show you. Where are we at? Is it this one? Yeah, here it is.
Now we begin the second match.
柔術を世界に知らしめた男、ホイス・グレイシーの看板を背負って、ホイスが負けることを許されない。このグレイシーの看板を背負って、ホイスが戦いの場に向かいます。
Pride never die, motherfuckers. But they did this. They did this in the middle of the fucking like plaza or whatever in high school. But they were dressed like in shorts and like MMA gear and shit. They did not train.
UFC 大会で初めて見せたこのグレイシートレイン。エリオが、そしてホリオンが肩に手をかけ、ゆっくりとリングを目指します。
They did this shit and it's just like, god damn, it's so embarrassing. Also, the Gracies are fucking awful.
リングを一別することもありません。地獄となるか、その戦いの場はまだその視界には入っていない。
When you're in Japan, in an organization that was essentially run by the Yakuza, and you're still the most reactionary faction in the building, I'm telling you, that fucking sport was cooked from the jump. But it feels like that. Like, don't allow these fuckers to call themselves socialists. All right, you're getting banned. ZDub202 says old UFC was peak. That was Pride, which the UFC never had a fucking like. Couldn't wash their fucking jock straps in terms of entertainment. Okay.
So this is we're going to enter dialectics land, right? So part of
We're entering dialectic land, everyone. Come around. Come gather. Come with me if you like to see a world beyond your imagination, dialectic land. Like, what the fuck? How? What the fuck are we doing? Why, Bree? Why, Bree? Why are you allowing her to do this? God damn, bro.
I mean, so this is we're going to enter dialectics land, right? So part of this idea of democratic centralism or of making decisions together and choosing it means, yeah, you got to be in the clique. Like that's part of the deal. You have to have been bought into this party system. So, we're working through this tension of getting toward where we are more party-like and where we are making decisions collectively. That is a tension that's going to keep coming up, and that's that's a contradiction that we have to figure out how to work through for sure. But then that's good to know that Shama did ask. I can text some folks from Seattle DSA, but we'll just go back and forth all day. I think.
We're just gonna go back and forth all day if I ask her why they, why they wouldn't, endorse like the most left candidate in the race. That's crazy how it would have actually helped her be competitive. But why text back and forth? I mean, holy shit, bro.
It sounds like
but it's something worth working out, right? Like, I don't want to make this, sorry to the listeners if this devolves into like us doing administrative stuff that should be behind the scenes on camera. But if, frankly, I do think that securing a DSA endorsement for a candidate in a race as important as this one, a week or so, the election is on August 4th. A week or so before the election is infinitely more important than whatever podcast Prater. I mean, this is significant, even this late in the game, right? Especially because, not only because it would potentially be beneficial to Shama's campaign, but also because it's beneficial to the integrity and the confidence that people have in DSA as an organization, which I have to tell you, I was just at a Green Party conference last weekend, and there's an enormous amount of frustration from longtime lefties of the feeling that, if you're a socialist and you're green, as opposed to be a socialist in your DSA or a socialist in your PSL.
No, stop. If you're a socialist and you're green, meaning the Green Party, you're a socialist and you're in the PSL, meaning the Party for Socialism and Liberation. And then Bree says, if you're a socialist and you're DSA, no, hold on. You just mentioned two fucking parties and one organization within a party. What party is that? What party is that? The Democratic Party. This constant conflation, not just of words like socialist, democratic, socialist, communist, all this shit, but of treating the DSA as an equal to an actual fucking party like the PSL, like the Greens, whatever criticisms of them, and there are plenty, is so fucking preposterous. Because the DSA fucking cult is always talking shit about the PSL and the Greens. Now, so are we, but I mean, we have some dignity, we have some self-respect, we have principles, right? These DSA fucks are like, oh, at least we win, at least we put fucking numbers on the board. It's like, no, you don't. The Democratic Party does. You don't, because you're an organization, not a fucking party. God.
Or a member of any other socialist organization, there seems to almost be a greater willingness to align with the Democratic Party, right, than there is with your fellow socialists, because they may or may not have differences with the DSA, usually that are about strategy and approach as opposed to substantive ideology.
Okay, and this is where I feel like Bree brings out her what is it, Louis? Is it Louis Theroux? Is that his name? No, I think you say it weird, right? Theroux? Is it Theroux? I don't know, she's acting or playing. This gives me kind of like, come on, but anywho. Oh yeah, we don't know why. We wonder why. Well, because the fucking Democrats would kick them the fuck out if they pulled that shit. That's why. We do know why. Because they're beholden to the Democratic Party. God.
Yeah, and I don't. There are plenty of people who dual card with Green parties. I think there are fewer dual carders with PSL because I'm not sure they allow it, which we have good at the national level, good relationships with PSL leaders and have done big national things together, big, kind of cross nation rallies type things. And I think there's less, I don't know. I don't feel the bad blood necessarily, but I do understand why people whose theory of change is run a third party versus run a ballot line party surrogate kind of model. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I'm sure it's frustrating.
Why not both? Because there's a
¿Por qué no los dos? ¿Por qué no los dos?
this came up in conversation with one of the, I think, a gubernatorial candidate I was talking to at the Green Party conference, where there was a DSA candidate. I wish I could remember who I was talking to. I met a lot of candidates last weekend. But there was a DSA candidate who had lost the primary. And the Green Party person is now still going to be on the ballot. They're a Green Party candidate in the general election. What do you make of the strategy of saying, okay, you can do the insider-outsider strategy, but if the DSA candidate doesn't make it running on the Democratic Party line, they or someone else can go on and continue running as a Green, especially because, one, the Democrats have no problem doing that. They say vote blue no matter who, but look at Cuomo and Zohran Mamdani, look
India
at
Walton.
India Walton, exactly, in Buffalo. And two, because there is there's an argument that you can push all those resources right on over and continue the fight outside the party. And given how hostile the Democratic Party often is in these primary races, where frankly it is not democratic and not fairly run, I think there's a stronger sort of moral, political fairness argument to keeping a lefty in the race through the general election there is for the establishment, who will lose fair and square or lose despite having an enormous advantage, and then still Cuomo it or Bloomberg it, right? To take another example of how Bloomberg was poised to act as a Bernie spoiler should he have won in 2020, won the primary in 2020. Why not that strategy?
Oh, I'm muted? Jesus Christ. I'm tired. My apologies. I've been up since fucking 3:30 in the morning. Thank you. Here's why. I'll repeat myself. For those of you that just refuse to listen because I'm muted, here's the thing, and here's what it is. They can't do that because they're beholden to the Democratic Party. They are an organization known as the Democratic Socialists of America, underneath, beholden to the Democratic Party to have ballot access. They want to skip the process of organizing an actual party and fighting for ballot access. They want to bypass that and pursue an entryism and claim victories that way and point fingers at PSL, at the Green Party, and say, ha ha ha, the people actually support us. Look how we're winning. And it's like, well, no, the people are supporting and once again believing in the Democratic Party that you represent. Congratulations, you've made the Democratic Party stronger.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think that there have been some endorsements or cross endorsements of third party candidates. Certainly we've run people as independents or no party candidates in places where we believe that either they're winnable as such, which has, in some city council races, it's no party anyway. Like there are different kinds of.
Notice she spends more time talking about independence or no party. Whoa. Notice how she spends more time talking about independence or quote unquote no party instead of making references or examples to the third parties that they've endorsed.
The complexity of the American electoral system is baffling. But yeah, that is a thing. But as far as bigger races where there is a third party line on the ballot, I think there are probably a few reasons. I think one is that the party surrogate model means that we have our set of things that we're, that are whatever our goals, our red lines, are things that we're trying to do. They have theirs. There may or may not be crossover. I don't know that I can think of a really prominent candidate who felt like they could.
Oh, Bree was losing it. Y'all saw that? You saw that? Look.
I don't know that I can think of a really prominent candidate who felt like they could or wanted to bridge that whatever.
That like 20 blinks in 1 second where we're like, holy shit, where you had to like blink through the bullshit. It's tough. It's tough.
To figure out the contradictions. I don't know of any.
In the air toss. Nah, she's so fucking over this. She's like, all right, bro, all right.
That whatever. To figure out the contradictions. I don't know.
Yeah. No, Killer Mike, please. My stream just went down for a second. Can you No, I don't know what happened with y'all on your end. Let me know. But like my OBS just shut down for me. So I don't know if the streams ended. How's the live chat looking? The Deculturation Live? Is that still up and going? Is it back? Are we back on everything? Oh shit, we're back on everything. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean I think Mike had the best verse on that, and credit to him, and I think every bar he said was true, and please don't do that to my channel again. Please.
I get that there's many contradictions between like a Green Party platform and the average like DSA Canada platform.
I think there are Green Party candidates who do not say I am a socialist, which is an.
You motherfuckers. Are you fucking serious right now? Look at her face. She's fucking dead ass, bro. Wow. That's astonishing. That's just fucking pathetic, bro. Wow. No, but yes. No, I mean, just talk about Zoran Mamdani. Just talk about Alejandro Ocasio-Cortez. They do not call themselves socialists, bro. They don't. It froze here for y'all? Damn.
And obviously, as we discussed, Abdul Saeed vehemently is not a socialist.
Right. And I don't think he's even in any voter guides. I don't think any of the chapters there have written one. But again, a DSA endorsement is not just a thing on paper, right? It means that there is this flood of volunteers, of knowledge, of resources. Like our folks know how to cut a turf list for door knocking. They know how to set up a
completely
comms
fair.
So
that's completely fair. So the question then is, why not have the DSA voter guide non-endorsement for some of these candidates, the same way that Graham Plattner and Abdul Saeed and other non-social and Tom Steyer have gotten? Do you see what I'm getting at? Like, we can talk about the technicality of if it's an endorsement or not a technical endorsement, but the broad public perception is that the DSA is willing to get behind. There's, when Fox News has you on to inveigh against you, it's because they're trying to bring down people like Abdul Saeed and tie Abdul Saeed to Graham Plattner because they're all perceived to be part of the same movement, in part because of the relationship to the DSA.
Yeah.
Because none of those. Okay. It's why are we acting like this is complicated? It's so fucking frustrating. It's frustrating because it's like the reality is all these people are able to play this fucking game and get endorsed, or if not endorsed, get recommended by the DSA because they're Democrats or they're independents that don't have a party that poses a threat to the Democratic Party. That's why. The same way that we would not be seeing all these so-called DSA candidates winning fucking shit if they were an independent third party. It's that simple.
Yeah. And I think the difference, the DSA difference, as we love to say a lot, it does mean that human force that comes
Can we start saying that around here? The DSA difference.
as we love to say,
relationship to the DSA.
Yeah. And I think the difference, the DSA difference, as we love to say a lot, it does mean that human force that comes behind it. It does mean that is part of it. And so sometimes you'll get, like, I think in Michigan, you're seeing kind of trickle up effects because we are, running Rashida Tlaib and Donovan McKinney. And so we've got folks knocking doors for them, doing GOTV for them. And that is going to obviously benefit any candidate who's anywhere near the progressive side. But yeah, I get that it's sort of, I get that it seems cliquish. I also think that is not necessarily a bad thing. I think us kind of coalescing as this very specific movement that has a very specific set of strategies and techniques that we use when we're doing electoral work, but also when we're doing labor work or housing justice work or things like that. Like, we've got these sort of ways we do things, and we iterate on those very deliberately. And
I'm sorry, remind me. She's saying now we have specific things, but earlier she's like, yeah, we're very broad. Like, we got to be broad. You're not going to believe in everything the DSA believes in, and we still endorse you.
I understand that. But
Yeah.
when you say you think it's good that we're cliquish because we have a certain way of doing things, I'm struggling to parse that because I'm struggling to understand a sort of a good definition of why you would want to exclude basically people who are ideologically aligned over what feel like maybe a process disagreement that may or may not be a disagreement. What do you mean? Maybe clarify.
It's
Yeah.
the idea of partyism, right? It's the idea of trying to pull ourselves into functioning more like a party. And when I say a party, I don't mean in the Democrat-Republican sense. I mean like in the European sense or in the Latin.
I voted for Kamala Harris. You got a problem?
When I say party, I don't mean actual parties like the Green Party or the PSL. I mean in the European sense. I don't know if you read Lord of the Rings, right? But you had the elves, you had the orcs, you had the giants, you had the forest giants, you had the wizards, the warlocks, so not really like a real thing. Maru today for the super chat, the way she acts, I think it's flipped. The way she acts like she has been in the DSA since 2006. I think I got you. I think.
Latin American sense, where a party is this group of people who work together to develop this platform, and everybody defends the platform, and you're working together on this set of policies, and you kind of are moving in tandem. And I think we're working on pulling that in. And again, like, yeah, it's landing. There are a bunch of contradictory things that shake out of that. But I think cliquishness and democratic centralism are really kind of two
I'm with
main
you.
ways
Okay.
to say what we want, which is people buying into this program.
I'm with you and have been desperate for the DSA to act like a party. I've been desperate for the DSA to run to actually seek and find and run candidates so that we don't end up in situations like Grant Plattner, where weird Ivy League randos found this guy and were very happy to ignore how much he wanted to go fight in the Vietnam Wars and the Indian Wars to say, let's put a plaid shirt on the fella and get him talking economic populism. And of course, that sort of thing is going to blow back in your face because you haven't vetted the candidate properly. I would like to believe that a real left organization like the DSA would do a better job vetting. Okay.
You lost me at real, but okay.
Okay, I would love that. But the fact is that not only has the DSA so far not been willing to act like that, when the DSA electeds have been asked whether or not they are willing to vote for a bloc akin to the party system in some place like the UK, where, by the way, the Greens have just had an enormous success, as discussed on the last episode of Bad Faith Podcast with Ashok Kumar, which I strongly recommend people go and listen to. It's one of my favorite episodes of the year. That they have said, no, I don't want to. AOC said, no, we are not a bloc. Famously, as we were discussing during Force to Vote, whether or not they should use their leverage in the House at the time to hold up the speakership vote for Nancy Pelosi in exchange for any number of concessions, committee appointments, a vote for Medicare for all these other kinds of things, anything they would ask for, right? And they said, no, we're not doing that. Now, I'm hopeful that the attitude of some of these new electeds is a little bit different, but we are decidedly not in a world where the
I mean, hopeful or naive? Hopeful or naive? What are we doing here, man?
DSA acts as a party. And that being the case, it feels odd to say we're not going to take advantage of these other third parties that are left in their orientation and ideologically aligned with the DSA, much more so than the Democratic Party, to run candidates.
Well, I mean, we don't get there by declaring we're a party and everybody's acting like it. I just think that would make DSA fall apart. But I'm not sure.
Wait, why?
Being a party will make the DSA fall apart. She's saying the quiet part out loud. The DSA would not function. The DSA could not win if it removed itself from the Democratic Party. Thank you.
acting like it. I just think that would make DSA fall apart. But I'm not sure.
Wait, why? Why? Because I'm not trying to be cute. I'm trying to understand.
I think you have to build the levels of social inquiry and the levels of commitment. And I think we are not entirely there. And I think just sort of declaring the way it is would just sort of.
Well, it wouldn't be declared. I would imagine that it would be very difficult. It's hard work, but one step is to start trying to get ballot access, like ballot line access, right? That's something that the Green Party, for all of the criticisms it receives, has done the best job at in terms of independent third parties that are left-leaning, not the Libertarian Party, actually, obviously, which is an even better job at it. One thing would be finding candidates to run. A group like Justice Democrats obviously has had some success in doing that. That's how they got AOC. You know, that wasn't a DSA effort. That was a Justice Democrats effort. So obviously there are these other organizations that have done parts of what people like myself, at least, would like to see the DSA doing. And the question is whether or not there's an appetite within the DSA for that. You seem to be alluding to the fact that there is a growing appetite for it.
Sure.
But you know, how robust is that conversation? And if you're basically what you're telling me is that some time off, it's like it's very far in the future. Again, we return to this question of why not exploit the parties that are existing to advance the interest of DSA and run socialist candidates.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And again, it's one that we talk about in DSA a lot. I think ballot line stuff is a little bit cart before the horse. I think our job is to build a base, is to build this momentum having group of people who know how to do this stuff and can pull other people in and have them start doing the work. And
For who? Or is it for whom? Either way, it's for the Democratic Party. She's like, oh, ballot access is just too soon. First, we got to get all these votes for the Democratic Party.
From
but
there,
what do we mean? Again, I'm not trying to be cute, but when we say do this stuff, do the work, but like, what specifically do we mean? Are we saying the goal of DSA is to have a ground army that can knock doors to elect Democrats?
That well, I mean, I think the Democratic ballot line is truly just a ballot line. The two parties have colluded over the course of the last century to make sure that ballot line access is expensive. It is chaotic. It's different in every state. And I don't think that we have landed on that being something that we want to use our resources for doing, when instead we could be out knocking doors, organizing unions in our workplaces, organizing tenant unions in the places where folks live, pushing for things like expanded transit and expanded childcare and against data centers and that kind of thing. I think we see our theory of change as one that is kind of ground up, as opposed to, I guess labeled. Nah, it's not quite the right word, but like the name of the ballot line that you're on is less of a concern to me personally. And I'm, you know, of the left of the organization, such as it is, though we always argue over what that actually means. But I would like our electeds to be caucusing together in whatever bodies they're in, not necessarily with the Democrats or with whoever. Bernie Sanders very happily is an independent and it is successful for him. I think it's hard to, I think there is, you're pushing it back, and all of us are doing this across the left over a century of propaganda against the left. And we're all trying to figure out ways that is going to be the most successful. And, there are still, entryists who are like, no, we're going to get in the Democratic Party. We're going to change it from the inside.
What the fuck are you talking about? There's still entryism. You are the interest. You are the interest. What do you mean there still are? Bro, look in the fucking mirror.
DSA has some experience having actually tried that and watching what happens. The famous Nevada story, right? It doesn't work, right? They just take the money and they leave, and then you're like, well, wait.
What's the famous Nevada story?
We're not hearing the famous Nevada story. They're doing it right now. And again, calling Bernie an independent when he ran as a Democrat and just does everything the Democratic Party wants. What are we doing here? This is preposterous. This is fucking nonsense. And I'm sorry I made y'all sit through that. Yeesh, that was rough. That was rough. Now we're going to wrap up for the night. That was rough. My apologies. But hey, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Do me a favor, y'all. Hit the like button. Consider supporting the the Patreon. If you can. Thank you so much. But we're wrapping up here. Ida, I appreciate all the support that y'all been giving. Thank you so much. Gio coming in
for Kamala
last
Harris, no
minute,
problem.
coming in clutch. I appreciate it. Now I understand why DSA hasn't tried to take over Chicago City Council. The organization is led by a bunch of managerial cowards, but Chicago is also a Democratic Party fortress. Yeah, in other words, they had that shit locked in. They have it secured. Thank you so much, Gio, for the super chat there. Tomorrow, longer stream. It'll be good. It'll be fun. More nonsense. More reading. A lot more fucking reading. Do me a favor, y'all. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Consider supporting the channel, this little project, by becoming a Patreon member. $2 gets you access to the Discord, where you have the unofficial book club on Saturdays. They're currently on. Meditations on Finance, Wretched of the Earth, and the Sunday articles. They're reading deculturation. Decolonization is not a metaphor. And if you want to help support without anyone skimming off the top, hit up the Cash App. Any and all help is greatly appreciated. And remember what Glenn Ford said, organize with eyes wide open. As always, wrapping up with John Trudell, the Beast. In a whiff of smoke down on the corner, there was this cat, fortunately, talking at me from voices in his head, yelling about what storyteller said. You gotta be careful here, child. There's a beast in the promised land. There's madness you don't understand. The beast is crazed and running wild. Little boy, man, little girl, woman. No big deal, nothing personal. Your mind's another meal. Savoring the rush of you like heady wine. Feeding is what the beast is meant to do. Stranger are those walls built to hide. Stranger to look and learn not to see. He's in the mask you put on your face. Thoughts, his favorite breeding place. In the race to midnight, it's after 11. The nature of the beast is all he knows. Behind doors of hell are gates of heaven. Doors are open, but the gates are closed. Yes,